Hello, and thanks for tuning in once again to some Tainter Brain Pod. Um, for those not in the know, we just kind of record our Dungeons and Dragons sessions and post it online, mostly for us to look back on. But if we did develop a small following or an interest in our weekly gaming session, that wouldn't be the worst thing. So, putting it out there. A lot of fun to play with these guys. We're a pretty talented group, and pretty cohesive. Once again, we got another session in the books, another grand evening of adventure, and hopefully it's as fun to listen to and watch as it was to make. Pretty hilarious batch of fellas we got here. Without further ado, enjoy. Alright. Okay, so last session the party had freshly arrived in Greenthorn from the desert. With dusk approaching, they entered the Black Rat Tavern. Blade quickly struck up a deal with old Gutsy, the half-orc bartender, and began wooing the locals with a few stunning musical numbers and a bit of acrobatics, which led to some well-earned coin. Locris gained the favor of some youthful locals while gathering some intel, as well as talking his way into a discounted purchase of a well-made chart of the plains, and had a chilling encounter with the Silver Queen's appointed governing official of Greenthorn, Marineth, who appears to be interested in the whereabouts of any golden dragonborn. Renwick gathered some intel as well from a traveling band of elven adventurers. He also ventured across the street to acquire rooms from the higher-end establishment, the Silver Stable. Once there, he also encountered an almost too friendly dragonborn, Talvin, who, through a stealthy meeting, revealed much about the political climate of Hordenshire, as well as that of a caravan of captured rebels would be roaming through town soon. Gladier also did a bit of information gathering himself, passing a bit of a bribe off to a few off-duty guards or silver soldiers before joining Renwick across the street, briefly talking with Telvin and retiring to his quarters to keep his identity hidden. Logus kind of astutely watched protectively over the party and was able to glean some insightful information as well, by kind of just keeping a watchful eye on the party as they went about their antics. On the following morning, the party discovered a wagon train of bounty hunters with carts full of stock. Soon, an eruption of noise, smoke, and confusion overtakes the street. Many captives flee in all directions. As the smoke clears, the captives look to have all been freed, and many silver soldiers and bounty hunters alike lay slain amongst the road. A trio of golden dragonborn wearing face coverings are all that remains of the chaos before disappearing into a puff of golden smoke. One seems to do a double take while glancing at a nearby Gladier before tossing a dagger straight into his face. And that is kind of where we are now. So it's early morning, Main Street. Chaos has just erupted. You can hear the bells ringing of like the alarm. You can see, a small group of armed silver soldiers coming from several separate directions, all kind of descending upon Main Street, and yeah, that's kind of where you guys find yourselves now, as the smoke just slowly clears. You do notice up and down kind of the road that several of the bounty hunters and silver soldiers have been slain in the process of freeing these captives, and that the guards are already kind of upon you. Essentially, like they're shouting orders. There's a lot of confusion. They're kind of descending upon the wagons, like looking for clues and checking to see if there's any other armed combatants.
Hey DM, would you allow me to cast a spell on the golden dragon that threw a knife at Gladier? Would you allow me to cast a spell on him before he pooped out?
No, it's already over with. He's pieced out.
Renwick's gonna look at the party and kind of try to like whisper so that nobody hears, and basically just be like, "Well, whatever just happened, we need to do our best to see if we can find any tracks, and we also need to make ourselves pretty subtle. They were already pretty suspicious of us, and if this happened, we're going to be the first people they're looking at. So we need an alibi."
Yeah, and Glader would have immediately like shoved the dagger that was thrown at him into his pack, trying to hide it.
Right. You said you had briefly glanced at it before, but aside, you noticed it was still within its case. It's not, it's still in its scabbard, and your family crest was upon it, but you didn't like inspect it really. You just saw your family crest and kind of stashed it.
Yes.
Renwick's also gonna like tug on your cloak and be like, "You might want to hide the other dagger that you keep on yourself. It also has your crest on it."
Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. And he'd also just shove that into the pack he has slung across his back. And then, as I said, I think I said this towards the end of last session too, but when he woke up, he would have he had done his normal stuff to try and hide his family crest, like put a shield on his back, put the tabard that also has the crest flipped inside out over the shield, and then like pack over that. So he's like doing everything he can to disguise that. And then I also think I changed into a bronze dragonborn with the girdle of scales.
Okay, yeah. So you definitely would have changed before like coming out down to town, but so you'll have to keep track of that 8-hour ticker because you will be a gold dragonborn before sundown. So you got most of the day.
All right. Well, I think we should probably try and just calmly exit this area, not draw too much attention to ourselves. Maybe spend an hour in town just to avoid suspicion. Maybe we can grab some supplies, and then I think we should try and track these people.
As you guys are kind of talking in the street, a couple of guards do come up to you guys and start questioning you, like what do you know? What did you see? What happened here according to you? We're trying to get everything together on the same page. We need to know what happened. We need to know who saw what. Tell us what happened in your eyes. They're kind of persistent. There's a couple of them that are in need of some answers. And they kind of look you over like, how do we know you're not part of the rebels? You better give up some intel. Aiding and abetting still counts. You let us know everything you know.
Low Crystal speaking up. We saw the same shit you did. We're standing over here watching the people come in like every other asshole in this town. And all of a sudden, 3 dragonborns show up and start causing mayhem, and everybody goes running off. We don't know what the hell's going on any more than you do.
3 dragonborns, right. He seems to be like vigorously taking notes. We didn't see anything. The few that were stationed here are all laid up.
Well, maybe if you had seen something, you would have caught them. But we're not over here doing anything besides watching, just like every other Tom, Dick, and Harry. I mean, what were you doing? Maybe it was an inside job. How are we supposed to feel safe if you're not stopping them from coming into town?
He he looks kind of flustered at your questioning and your reason, and he just kind of wow. You're not locals here. It doesn't look like you're paying any taxes. You shouldn't have anything to fear from us. How do we know that you're not? Pretty odd timing that some out of towners just happen to be on the road at the early morning when this huge rebel incursion just happens to go down. How do we know that you're who you say you are?
Well, Chris kind of backs up, puts his hand on Blade's shoulder. Do you know who this is? This is Blade. That's right, the Blade. The man who made a dive bar the spot to be last night. We travel these roads going through lands, so it is a concern of us to keep our stars safe. So why would we want to stay in a town where apparently the so-called law enforcement can't keep it safe? I mean, look at this man. He is having an emotional break. How is he supposed to be able to perform with the stresses that you are allowing to occur?
And Blade is just, obviously just kind of looking panicked at this point. He's just like, I can't do it at this. I can't perform.
Renwick's gonna pat Blade on the side, and then he'll step up toward the guard and be like, "You can ask anybody that was in that damn pub last night. We were all there. We were there until late. We walked across the street, got rooms, and we had barely woken up when all this happened. For fuck's sake, we were here to play a concert, and there's plenty of witnesses."
Oh right, yeah. I mean, okay, I did kind of hear about that. That was you guys, huh? All right, all right. I apologize. Yeah, well, we can't be too safe. There's people's lives on the line here. Did you see any which direction any of the captive rebels may have fled? Did you see any in particular catch your eye?
No, it was all started and over. It felt like 5 seconds. They poofed out of nowhere. They poofed back to nowhere. It was the damnedest thing, I tell you.
All right, well, we're going to have a lot more squadrons coming in and through the area. I suggest you, if you have business, you get to it. If not, you might want to hang out in the tavern or in your room if you've got one. Because, there's going to likely to be some a high guard activity out here. And if you don't feel like answering questions and getting badgered constantly, I'd move along and quickly.
Well, we appreciate knowing that there will be law.
Is there a lot of people in the area now? Is it possible for me to just maybe get a little close and maybe see if I can see some tracks or maybe get an indication of the direction they ran?
Go ahead and give me a perception check. So, you notice that the people in the immediate area are kind of panic stricken. You see, most of the people around, where this kind of happened are fleeing. The people you can see through the clearing, haze. Women and children that are slamming doors, maybe peeking out of windows. fleeing the street quickly, steering clear of the whole situation. There's not a lot of people actively trying to be in the area, except for silver soldiers. They are going up and down this wagon train. It looks to be inspecting it. There are several cart type of wagons that you have seen before, and you do notice it's kind of hard to pick up footprints because their footprints just kind of go in every direction here on Main Street. But you do notice that the lead wagon, the lead carriage or whatever of this train of human cargo, is another cart similar to the ones you guys had been destroyed by the Ankegs. It looks like another metal carriage, horse-drawn carriage, and it is currently being gone through by a squadron of silver soldiers.
What are the odds that if you do a show for the soldiers, we could potentially have them let us keep that for a tour bus?
There it is. I thought I'd lost it.
Well,
Boys.
are the guards that are questioning us? Are they still hanging around, or have they kind of wandered off?
They are in the vicinity. They turn their attention to other people, like the silver dragonborn barkeep Telvin. Even they're even questioning him, as he's kind of come outside to see what the heck's going on too, and he's kind of giving him his spiel, giving him his 2 cents, and he vouches that, you guys all bought rooms from him and were drinking ales last night and whatnot, and that you're not likely part of the rebel incursion.
Well, Dane, what do you say about stocking up on some goods and then heading back out and trying to see if we can find where these people ran off to?
I think that's a safe bet. I need to make a stop by a general store or a smithy, and I'm sure we could do some quick shopping so it doesn't look like we're fleeing the scene of the crime, and then a little bit later we'll try to slip out of town.
Okay, yeah. I mean, after a spell, you hear the alarm bell kind of stop ringing, but the aggressive tactics of the soldiers and like the patrols have definitely kind of increased. You see them like aggressively questioning people out on like Main Street, but aside from an increase of patrols and curiosity and generally everyone's presence, who's going where, doing what, and why. But the stores and things do open as it is, early morning. And life, for the most part, even though a little bit more heavily militarized than normal, the life goes on as normal for the rest of the town. The Silver Guards do eventually take the carriage and all of the like slave carriages or I guess rebel containing carriages to their compound.
Renwick blows a kiss to the other metal wagon and just says, "Goodbye, Mystery Machine 2.0."
So, there are a number of shops. Greenthorn isn't like a thriving metropolis, but it does have, the basic amenities covered. There is a general goods store, an alchemist, a stable. There is a smithy. It does mostly horseshoes, but he could potentially get some armor going on as well, or do some repairs or something if needed. But it's pretty humble businesses. There's a lot of like livestock that is bought and sold here. So there's a lot of hide, there's a lot of beef, there's a lot of pork. You know, it's a very like farm and ranch kind of community on top of a bunch of different produce. So you could potentially buy live or on the rack, I guess, like cattle or whatnot if you wanted, or it seems that the market for animals is much bigger than the market for general goods, but it's still there.
Well, boys, I've been practicing a few tricks, so I'm in the market for a hand crossbow. So I'm willing to bet the smithy's my best choice there, unless they have a Fletcher in the area. If anybody else needs to go with the smithy, though, we should all probably at least travel no less than two. Something tells me we shouldn't be alone in this town, as crazy as things are. Or we all roll together, since Blade is sort of our cover.
Perhaps I can talk to the merchants and maybe get us a deal.
You are a local celebrity at this point. That's probably not a bad idea.
I need my protection, and not in the ways you think.
I've never known you to be one who uses protection, and he'll wink at him.
Meet my sons.
All right, well, let's head on out then. Start at the smithy, I guess.
Okay, yeah. The smithy, it's kind of a humble forge. Looks like this is probably just like the only public smithy around. It seems like the armor quality and weapon quality you've seen of, say, like the Silver Soldiers, probably not made here. This guy looks to be, mostly making common goods, but horseshoes. He could probably make a set of manacles. There's some decent, average made metal goods. Some swords, some axes, some tools. But for the most part, he's like more a village smithy. Somebody more inclined to make horseshoes and nails rather than armor and weapons.
Hey, Sean, as we're walking off, did I see the I can't remember her name right now, the sorcerer that we encountered, the sorceress that we encountered last night? Did I see her at all in the aftermath?
You have not seen her, actually. You haven't seen her since she left the inn last night.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, so the smithy's just kind of, he looks busy. He's an older human male, bald, kind of dirty. It looks like a couple of his sons are helping him run the smithy. And he, as you approach, he continues banging out some kind of tool on the anvil for a bit, but eventually takes a break and wanders over to you. What can I do for you?
Well, my good sir, I'm in the market for potentially upgrading my crossbow, or rather finding a new one and trading my old one in. And I figured this would probably be the right place to go. I didn't happen to catch the name on the sign outdoor. What's the name of your establishment, sir?
Smith Services, Smithy and Sons.
Well, that's quite the keen name. Well, I'm in the market for a hand crossbow, if you happen to have one. And if you've got a fancy one, I wouldn't mind checking that out as well. Can't say I'm rich, but I do like the finer things in life.
He kind of walks you over to a weapon rack. There are some. There nothing stands out as above average quality. Average at best. Some of them are kind of a little dusty. None of them are particularly rusty, but they might have a slight hint of rust on a bolt here or a banding there. But he does have a light crossbow sitting on this rack. but that is the only crossbow he currently has. So you might get luckier at the general goods store. You know, if you're looking for something a little more fresh. This is more for hunting game rather than adventuring. He kind of gestures to your get up.
Well, that's understandable, and he'll kind of like motion to the crossbow on his back and be like, I've already got a light crossbow. I'm looking for something that I can wield one-handed, but I do appreciate it. And then he'll motion to the party and he'll be like, but my friends here might need to be outfitted with something. Perhaps they could do some business for you. And just see if anybody else needs to do anything here. And I guess next stop, general store.
I think I'm pretty good on stuff right now. Is there any? No, never mind. Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay, so if you guys, he goes back to swinging the hammer. Let me know if you need anything. And goes back to tinking away on his anvil, making some kind of tool. Where did you guys want to head next?
I would like to go to like a general store or anywhere I can find. I want to get it specifically a bag of ball bearings if I can.
Okay, yeah, the general goods store is ran by a black dragonborn, and he it seems more than happy to accommodate you. He points you in the direction that you need to go and purchase some, whatever goods and services you would like. He has essentially, all of the common goods you could possibly find in the player's handbook. He doesn't have much in the way of armor, however, but Renwick he would carry the crossbow you're looking for, and the pretty much the general contents of the general items in the player's handbook.
Locris is just going to go up to Renwick. Are you looking for a specific type of crossbow or just a crossbow in general?
I'm looking for a hand crossbow. I've been practicing using a hand crossbow and a rapier at the same time, and I'd like to show you guys what I've been working on.
I got a light one that I'm not using. I could sell you.
I've got one of those. I'm actually probably going to trade it in. These fine gentlemen or fine people will allow me to do so.
That works.
But if anybody else wants to go ahead and do any shopping, I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna attempt to trade here. So I'll go last.
So does he
Yeah,
have just?
Sorry, like I said, I was just gonna get the bag of ball bearings, the standard bag, but I can't find the price anywhere.
What'd you say? Standard some ball bearings is what you're looking for? I'm gonna look that up real quick.
It's
Well, the standard.
So,
1,000.
A bag of 1,000 is a gold piece. So
Okay, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take a gold piece out.
all right, yeah, he's happy to accommodate. Anybody else need to pick anything up?
I'd just like to see what kind of general potions he has. I'm assuming he has like a basic healing potion at least.
Yeah, he's got a potion of healing, 50 gold pieces a piece, and they are 2d4 plus 2.
Yeah, I think I'd grab one of those.
Okay, for sure. Write it down in your inventory, mark off gold.
And Renwick's gonna tug on Blade's shirt and just be like, "Hey, buddy, do you think you could help me out here? Hand crossbows usually go for about 75 gold, And light crossbows go for about 25 gold. I'm thinking about trading it in, but if I can get a better price, I'd rather not spend more than I have to.
So
before they go up, Locris is just going to see if he has manacles and antitoxin.
Yep, good on both for sure.
Take one of each.
Manacles for the demon. I wonder what's going on over there.
All yours, Blade.
Blade is going to kind of just pick up Renwick and kind of place him forward and just kind of be like, so this man here is one of my sidekicks, and I don't know if you've heard of my name. And he's going to say, my name is Blade Silverstring. You might have heard us playing the other night at the tavern, and kind of reaches out his hand to shake him, the merchant's hand.
I shakes your hand back. Well, I wasn't there, but I heard there was quite the ruckus and a decent performance from a traveling bard. That must be you, eh?
Renwick speaks up and he's like, aye, this guy brings the ruckus wherever he goes, but he also has a tendency to bring quite a bit of business in as well.
Nice. He kind of rubs his hands together. He's like, I'm all about business.
So, we're both businessmen. We're both looking to get a good deal. Is where I'm bringing in maybe, a bit more of a crowd into the town or, into the nearby areas. And I'm in need of protection. Not the kind that you think of, but from maybe a physical standpoint.
He puts the rubbers back in his pocket. Okay, what are you talking about?
He's like, oh, well, don't put them away yet.
Yeah, Renwick will kind of look at the shopkeep and be like, aye, and it probably would do your store good to have the official seal as Blade Silverstring's official general goods store where he does his shopping. So I'm sure we could spread word around about the quality of your products if you'd be kind enough to make a decent deal for us, since we're giving you some business ourselves.
Well, you make a strong point, but I gotta point out that I'm literally the only general goods store within days of travel in any direction. So I don't really need advertising, but I'll tell you what, I was a little envious to find out I missed such a performance. You play me a tune. If you can woo me with a good tune, I'll give your next purchase a decent discount.
Blade pulls out his lute and does a deep bow and says, I would gladly.
Okay, give me a performance check.
Can I aid in that performance check?
Do you have like a instrument, or did you want to how would you aid him?
Oh.
We talked about this. You know what to do.
Oh God, I'm drawing a blank. I remember this whole conversation. You know what? I'm going to try to juggle daggers. I have 3 daggers in my possession.
Oh shit! Okay, give me a sleight of hand, and Blade, give me. We'll see. Depending on the sleight of hand, we'll see if it's with advantage or not.
Would you allow me to just do a flat dexterity check?
We'll say you can make it an acrobatics check to juggle some daggers.
Oh, fuck yes. 14 for a 23. And I have 2 masterwork daggers in the mix too, so they look extra fancy.
Okay, you can make your performance check with advantage there, Blade.
All right, so first one, performance, is a 23. Second, let's go with the 23.
He's kind of thrown off by the dangerous feat of your friend, juggling daggers, and as your slow jam melody just kind of creeps up on him. You play like a masterful piece, and it's only a couple of minutes long. It almost brings a tear to his eye, and he just like he slow claps, even though like, and he's not alone. Several other patrons in the store stops to listen and go ahead and roll me a d4.
D4. We are looking at a 3.
So once again, similar to the other night, it comes in the form of copper and silver, but several of the patrons kind of toss some coins at your feet. You get 3 gold worth of copper and silver coins, and the Black Dragonborn merchant. You swear you see him wipe a tear from his eye, and all right, one time offer. I'll knock 50% off of your next transaction, but that was quite the show.
Thank you, my kind sir. I do believe I'm gonna take an antitoxin and a hand crossbow from you. And if you have any interest, I'd like to trade in this light crossbow if I could sell it to you for a decent price.
He'll give you 15, he says, for the crossbow.
Yeah, that seems like a fine enough deal. You've been more than generous. And so it should be like 125, I believe, for the antitoxin and the hand crossbow. So I'll reflect all that in the gold. But thanks, Will.
Blade bows to the merchant and just says, thank you so much. I mean, my music is my life, and these guys keep me alive. And thanks to you, they're able to do that and keep me alive in these dangerous terrains. And I will sing songs of you. And what's your name again?
Gale. Gale, and the shop is Gale's Wares.
Then Gale's wares shall be sang in praise throughout Hotma and all the areas of surrounding.
Well, you don't have to go tell all the desert goat people, because they're kind of weird and they don't buy much. But hey, I mean, I appreciate the sentiment, and you are welcome back anytime, for sure. You can take 50% off that total Renwick, so that should put you down to like 60, 70-ish gold for the transaction, I think.
Sweet. Just wanted to make sure. I started to type and I was like, ooh, 50% is a lot. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, you don't just crush performance checks every day, you know?
Hey man, I'm not going to complain. I can't believe the juggling daggers actually worked.
Clever. All right, so is there anywhere else you guys need to go? Is there anything else you need to purchase from the general goods?
I think I'm good. I just want to get an extra little bit of healing potions.
Blade would, I guess, like to ask Gale. It might not be in this town, but kind of looking for someone that might be able to craft an instrument for me. Maybe a luthier, someone of has advanced knowledge in stringed instruments. Do you know of anybody in surrounding towns or villages that might be able to help me with that?
He kind of ponders for a minute, thinks, and well, I mean, Gethmara Keep is a very big city. I'm sure, of all the merchants and artisans that are there's got to be somebody that could help you, but I can't think of one that comes to mind. And also, if you're looking for something specialized, especially an instrument or whatnot, Wormwood Forest. Within it is a town called Wormhearth. They've got a good library, and they're a higher end, kind of hoity-toity magic usury types as far as the Dragonborn clans go. And they tend to have particularly skilled artisans in crafting this or that. But those would be my guesses. Nothing comes to mind though.
Blade says, "Thank you, Gale. I appreciate the help."
He bows deeply as you guys kind of conclude your transaction. As you guys are kind of going about, you notice that the Silver Soldiers are kind of constructing something. Go ahead and give me some perception checks as you guys are kind of going about store to store. Looks like they're constructing something in the middle of the road. Lots of wood, lots of hammering of nails. Everybody give me a perception check.
It's 17 for Renwick.
Okay, I'm looking at 20. Okay, 23 for sure. Nice. Don't get much past Logos. Yeah. You notice that what they're kind of building Logos looks to be like a stand. Like they're building like a stage of some kind. And also, you hear the ringing of bells, similar to the alarm bells of before, but some a little bit different. As you kind of look around, you notice that it's like a bell, a large bell, kind of being carried around by one of the silver soldiers, and then it will be rung by another silver soldier. So it's big enough that one person needs to hold it, and one person needs to ring it. And there are 3 or 4 separate like silver soldiers doing this with separate bells. And as they're ringing these gong-like bells, they're calling out into the homes and into the crowds, gong, like a town meeting, gong, town meeting, gong, and they'll walk down farther, and then give it another whack and call out, and slowly but surely, a small crowd begins to amass around this like stage-like platform that the Silver Soldiers are constructing.
Renwick's gonna kind of whisper over to Gladier and be like, "I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but usually when a military faction such as themselves builds a stage in the center of town, it means they've caught somebody and they intend to set an example of them."
Or maybe they went to see Blade perform for the whole town.
That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe we stick around a moment longer and see what this is about. Hang out should probably get into the crowd. Not too close, but I don't want to be on the outskirts and draw attention to ourselves. I'd rather, slip in the crowd and hide amongst the rest of the people so we're not seen.
As Gladier, how much more time do you have on your belt?
DM, it's only been like maybe an hour, right?
Yeah, I mean it's still bright and early morning. You've still got several hours to burn.
I got plenty more time.
All right, I just want to be mindful. Let's everybody cloaks up and maybe don't stand in a full group. Stay close, but maybe keep a couple people between each of us.
Yeah, that's what.
Once we get closer to the crowd, can I maybe use that 23 or maybe roll another perception to kind of hear some rumors in the crowd of what's happening?
Yeah, if you want to like kind of eavesdrop on the crowd as you kind of blend into it, go ahead and give me another perception check. So you're kind of eavesdropping, and you kind of pick out certain conversations here and there, and you don't get any particular information per se, but you do get a tremendous, like, overboding sense of panic and fear. Like, everyone is desperately afraid of what's going on. Mothers are clutching their children. Fathers are shielding their families. And they don't know from what, but it's definitely the entire community is kind of fear stricken at the moment, kind of panicky.
Can Renwick look around and see if he notices anybody from that other adventuring group that we met last night in the crowd?
Give me a perception check.
21.
You do not see Somner or any of his crew.
Damn it.
At this point.
All right, never mind then.
With that
I was hoping we might have backup.
With that 27, do I see maybe like a gathering of the soldiers or anyone in custody or something like that, maybe off to the side?
Yeah, as as the crowd kind of masses, the main street's only a few dozen buildings on either side of the street. So as the crowd masses, you notice that from down the road, the large stone structure that's like a guard barracks for the Silver Soldiers. It flies the flag of the Silver Queen above it. A large squadron of them, about a dozen or so, led by the guy that kind of came and grilled you upon entering. He's you didn't get his name, but he's a silver dragonborn. He's wearing like silver chainmail. He's got like a purple flowing cape, and he's leading about a dozen soldiers up to this stage. And he surrounds the stage, with him and his soldiers, kind of taking a defensive stance around it, acting like a buffer, him and his soldiers between like the stage and the crowd. And slowly but surely, Miraneth makes her way to the crowd, through the crowd to the stage, and takes point. She clears her voice, and as she kind of takes the stage, a dramatic change in her figure and color. She's like a pleasant enough looking half elven woman. She's wearing a red velvety kind of a robe with a white frilly like border around it. And as she takes the stage, like her features tend to like sharpen. She suddenly becomes very pale. The piercing blue eyes kind of gaze out, and not only do her features become very like becomes very pale, her garb like twists and swirls within like a flick of her wrist, and immediately like changes upon her, and suddenly she is now seems a little taller, but she is garbed in a deep purple robe with silver trim, and these to be the colors of the Silver Queen. And she takes the stage, and a voice that is far more booming and powerful than really her own. She addresses the crowd, and she cries out to the people, "Oh, good people of Greenthorn, you've glad to see we can come together under such dire circumstances. It is unfortunate, but we have been attacked by rebels, as you know, and, well, some of the captives that they helped to escape have eluded us. Of the 50 or so escaped captives, we only managed to recapture about 7 of them. And, well, this is unacceptable. This is due to the coddling of the nature of friends and neighbors in need. And we understand, but we cannot tolerate abiding rebels. So, unfortunately, several members of this community have decided they would rather help hinder progress rather than aid it. And in an address to the community, I must formally announce that due to such actions, we will be requesting more soldiers from the Silver Queen for not only patrols and protection, but to help reduce the amount of rebel activity in the area. More soldiers will need more places to stay, more food in their bellies, and they don't work for free. So, unfortunately for you, villagers of Greenthorn, even though the taxes have just been raised, they unfortunately must be re-raised again immediately. And you guys hear grumbles and groans come from the crowd at this point. And the soldiers must eat, and they will need pay. And a young, fresh batch of soldiers in this town is likely to add to an increase in the militancy. And there will, when these soldiers do arrive, we will be continuing age-old tradition of raids. If you have nothing to fear, nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear, you will be duly compensated for any inconvenience. However, there will be swift and just punishment to anyone aiding or abetting these rebels. So, turn them in when you can, give any information you can to the authorities, and death to the rebels and their cause. Certainly, you will agree. And she kind of claps her hands, and another squadron of silver soldiers marches down the road, and they march several recaptured captives up onto stage. And they are once again bound behind the back. These guys all have bags over their head at this time. They're kind of led on a rope chain up onto the stage. And Marineth, though she steps aside, her voice booms. We are going forward in Hordenshire, not backwards. Your beliefs and your ways have done nothing but cause harm for the hundreds of years that they have been implemented, and even now, under new rulership. These cannot be forgiven within Hordenshire, so perhaps the gods have mercy on your souls. And Marineth herself just kind of leans back and begins uttering a few arcane words. And in this moment, you notice the silver soldiers all kind of tense. Their eyes not trained so much on Meredith, but more on to the crowd, gauging the reactions and sensing if anybody's going to pull any shenanigans. But surely but surely, a great crackling whip of electricity erupts from Meredith's hands, and she cracks it with a deafening boom that is so loud it knocks a few of the farmers and villagers in the first row back a step or two, almost like a percussion type of damage. And as you guys look up, with a single stroke, Marineth and her electric whip has removed the head from all 7 recaptured individuals within a single instant. And then she marches off without hesitation back towards the large stone building flying the Queen's colors. The soldiers go straight to dictating crowd control. All right, you heard her. Nothing left to see here. Clear out, back about your business. Some of the other soldiers go about cleaning up the bodies, and you're somewhat right in your presumption, I guess, in the chat. Rather than break the stage down, it looks like they finished constructing it and fix a post and a noose. Looks like they have erected a execution block, as it were, right in the middle of town. Quite charming.
Renwick, you just see him wipe a single tear away and put his head down and just kind of like pass through the crowd, and he'll nudge everybody as he's passing through and just try to like basically motion to find somewhere quiet where they can talk.
And Locust is gonna just for a moment just be kind of too stunned to move or speak, but kind of keep that resolve that he's had for so long. But you can, like, if you look close, you see his like brow is twitching from just nervousness and of what was just witnessed, and just kind of slowly turn and follow Renwick.
Yeah, later, very similar reaction. He's kind of just quietly following the combination of seething rage and just shock and awe on his face as he's just kind of quietly following the group.
All right. So where is Renwick heading? You said somewhere private. I mean, you guys technically still have a few hours left on your individual rooms at the Silver Stable, or there is a. This is kind of a working community, so though Old Gutsy has a drinking establishment, very few people would be in there. But maybe the most hardened of boozers this early in the morning. But it is like
I was actually going to recommend, because we have such a good relationship with Gutsy and we made such a scene in the bar last night, that I feel like people would be inclined to help us out. So he's just going to start walking toward Gutsy's, and when he gets in, he's just going to ask Gutsy to give us a quiet corner and a round of his strongest liquor.
You kind of startle him awake, like he's half asleep on the bar, and you kind of startle him awake, and it takes this one good eye to kind of focus in on you. He's kind of gives you a confused stare as he kind of stares you. Oh yeah, yep, for sure. Yeah. He kind of grumbles, and he sends you guys a round of ales. And he comes with a round of shots. I guess a round of Boilermakers, a shot and a beer for each of you. But after serving you, he kind of groggily, he's trying to sit at attention, but it looks like maybe he had a long night. He is like half napping on the bar. And aside from him half napping, you guys have the entire establishment to yourselves for the moment.
How much do I owe him for that round of Boilermakers?
He just kind of waved it off. He didn't actually charge you anything.
I'll flip him a silver coin and wink at him.
He watches the silver coin hit the bar, and it snaps his eye open. Like money is a good motivator for him. You sense. He snaps his eye open and he eyeballs it, but he slowly closes his eye and kind of drifts off into like a half nodding. It's a little early in the morning for Old Gutsy.
Locust is just gonna clock the fact that Renwick winks at people a lot since his passive perception is so high.
I don't. Does it count as a wink or a blink if he's only got one eye?
I think the intention behind it would be the difference between the two.
Yeah. Old Gutsy has one good. He's got an eye patch and a good scar going through one of his eyes. So. But yeah, the hustle and bustle of town kind of, you're not too far away from a window, and you do notice, town kind of goes on as normal, but it's definitely got a quiet and somber tone, Before, when you got here, people were jovial, they were joking, they were talking in the streets. I mean, now it's the clip-clop of cow feet, and you hear an occasional bell here or there, but for the most part, it's a very silent work day for the people of Greenthorn.
And Renwick's just gonna look at the party, and he'll take his shot and just sit there quietly for a second, and he'll say, "This town is broken. I mean, for fuck's sake, she can behead 7 people, raise the taxes, bring more soldiers in, and force them to house and feed the soldiers, and nobody says a goddamn thing. Is this town like beyond help at this point? Like I don't even know if there's anything we can do for them.
They're sheep. They're shepherds of sheep. There's probably not a single man in this town who could lift a blade against really anybody, much less what the hell she has going on. No, there's unless we have an army at our backs, there's nothing to be done for these people. I think it's time we take the Blade show on the road. The question is, do we head towards Gethmara, or do we go down towards Wormhearth?
I say we take our chances heading to Wormhearth. It doesn't seem like we're in any situation to charge head on into Gethmara, so if anything, maybe we'll find allies there. And I don't know. I mean, it sounds promising that there's a magic academy there. There's got to be somebody that can help us in some way or another.
I believe Gethmara is up here in the mountains. That's where the quote-unquote rebels were from. It's not where the Silver Queen is.
I thought the Silver Keep wasn't too far from Gathmora.
No, Silver Keep is in the south. Gethmar is all the way north.
I'd imagine if they overthrew Gethmara, though, that they probably have a pretty solid stronghold,
It's
or
probably
like a stranglehold on that area. They're not going to raid Gethmara and then think everything's fine and leave it alone from there. So I think we'd be heading right into like like the heart of the war zone, basically.
Right. So I mean, Gladier would know, and I think you guys have a map, but like a solid 1/3 or so of the southern territory of all of Hordenshire is actually a giant ass Arctic lake, and in the center of this Arctic lake is a giant Arctic mountain, and on this like mountain island is a couple of different cities, a couple different tribes of Dragonborn, but it is at the top of this ice-covered mountain in this Arctic lake where the Silver Queen has made her home, and the Silver Keep is in that direction.
Yeah.
If
Gethmar is
there's if there's enough noise coming out of Gethmara that might divert some of the soldiers that they would send here. I'd almost imagine, based upon certain cutlery that recently came into possession, that may be the signal they're trying to send. Is that the chefs are up that way.
Oh yeah, Glader would kind of, because he's been pretty quiet since they got there, kind of shaken from the display moments ago. But at that comment, he would kind of dig through his pack and pull out the blade that was thrown at him. Can I, just observe that more closely, other than just the quick glance I got when I.
Yeah, go ahead and give me. You can give me a knowledge, history, or an investigation, whichever you prefer.
Investigation is better. That's cocked. Oh, that's not good. 7. I am shooketh from the.
So with that, I'll just give you like the basics. So, obviously, didn't remove the dagger from the sheath before it threw it at you. Kind of hurt when it bashed into your face as you kind of failed to catch it. It is a very fancy, ornate dagger. It has a golden handle and a golden scabbard with a few well placed like emeralds and things and jewels. You imagine the overall worth of this finely crafted weapon is you gauge it with all the stones and the amount of gold in the handle. I mean, it's got to be worth about 100 gold pieces. This is a very fine crafted dagger. It is actually a masterwork dagger, and it is it's covered in a couple of draconic symbols that are one of them is your like your family crest, your family symbol, and a couple of other like things that are like written in draconic along the side, but it's like blessings and good tidings and things like that. Positive reinforcement messages that would bring a smile to your face, type of a fairy tale rhymes, sayings and things like amongst your people.
Is that with that roll? I wouldn't have recognized it any more than that.
Yeah, sure. Not with that roll. You know that it is very finely crafted, but you're unsure as to its origin. Like you've never particularly seen this dagger before, which is odd. I mean, you've seen ceremonial daggers of your family, in your family's house and things, and not this particular knife for some reason.
Well, would
I mean, if you're gonna pull it out and kind of investigate it in front of the party, everybody can, I guess, make an investigation check on the blade if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, Renwick will inspect it, see if he notices anything. Like maybe since he knows thieves can't, like maybe they talk in code or something like that. So he'll take a look at it, and I guess we can just round table it, literally pass it around and see if anybody picks up anything at all before we make a decision as to which way we're heading out.
Yeah, so same thing applies to anybody who wants to kind of put hands on the dagger, I guess. Go ahead and give me an investigation or a knowledge history check, whichever you prefer.
That is an 18 for Renwick.
$19 for Locris on investigation.
Okay. So I gotta ask. I know that there's no dwarves here. Gladier tried to be a dwarf, but we just wouldn't let it happen. So do any of you have the feat like any tool proficiencies as far as like crafting weapons?
I just have navigating, thieves' tools, and water vehicles.
Logos don't have any tool proficiencies, and it makes sense that I rolled a natural one.
I speak Dwarvish.
Okay, so with Locris's 19 and Renwick, you kind of spot it too. You guys can tell that it's something's a little off. It's made for with a dragonborn crest. A dragon. It's got draconic words in it, but the blade is clearly not dragonborn made. It is dwarven made. The blade has been forged by dwarves of the region rather than Gethmara or Golden Dragonborn, and that's kind of peculiar. That kind of stands out to you a little bit. But as far as you guys know, dwarven smiths tend to have a way of putting their mark on an item, unseen by remain unseen by the untrained eye. A good dwarven smith could. It's almost like he could etch his name and address in it. Like made by so and so, son of so and so. And they take pride in it. But this type of emblem, this type of marking, to you guys, not being dwarven would be almost impossible to find. You gather that you would probably gain more if you brought this to someone who is perhaps a dwarven smith, one or the other, a talented dwarf or a talented smith might be able to tell you more about the origin of this dagger.
Would we happen to know, like geographically speaking, if there's any like nearby towns in the area that have a high concentration of like dwarves or craftsmen?
Yeah, what would I know? Like if Gethmar was had.
So Gladiator, I mean, go ahead and give me like a. You can give me like a knowledge history check, I guess. You can make it with advantage since it's kind of pertaining to some of your backstory stuff.
That's better. 15.
Yeah, Gladiator, you would recall that Hordenshire is kind of Game of Thronesy as far as the government, and at one point, all of the clans have had the reins. At one point or another, whether they're ruling the entire country or most of it or whatnot. And alliances change, alliances shift a lot over time. There was a time where the gold and silver dragonborn clans were the tightest clans to ever be. But the one thing alliance-wise that has never broken in all since Hordenshire's foundation is an alliance between the Red Dragonborn clans and the clans of the dwarfs, of the dwarfkin. You know that the village of Hammerton is a conglomeration of Red Dragonborn and dwarves, and you also know that the Red Dragonborn clans were, when the Gethmar clan was in power, they were your staunchest and most powerful, allying clan. It was the red and the golds as much as it is now the silver and the whites.
And I'm sorry, I might have missed it. Was the Hammerton? Was that in? That would have been like north of Gethmar. Is that the like in the mountains?
Correct. Hammerton is the only settlement in Hordenshire actually within the Rustback Mountains. There's a few small like villages and farms and things, but for the most part, the only settlement in the mountains is Hammerton.
So I guess after they, Logris and Renwick point out that it was dwarven made, I guess it kind of, yeah, little spark in my brain, light bulb goes off. Well, actually, there's only one place I know of that has a decently high population of dwarves and dragonborn, and that's north of my old, northeast of my old home. They're in the Rustback Mountains. So Hammerton. These the Red Dragonborns. They used to be our allies. We might find something there about what this knife is. Maybe that's where whoever this person was that threw it at me want us to go. I mean, it's might be some sort of clue. I mean, I feel like it's the only lead we've got right now. I mean, it's that, or we check out Wormwood and find the Green Dragonborns and see if maybe we can get some allies there.
Well, something tells me if they're any closer to the Queen, we're not going to have much luck finding allies on our side. So I think it's probably in our best interest to head toward Gethmara and Hammerton, and perhaps we'll have a run-in with somebody that might have more information on the way. But our best lead right now is to take this dagger to find out who made it and see if they can figure out who exactly hurled it at your face.
Now, where Blade speaks Dwarvish, can he do like any sort of check on the blade to see if there's any more info on it?
I mean, yeah, if you want to go ahead and give me you can give me an investigation or a knowledge history check as you kind of go over the blade, kind of discerning what you can discern.
Okay. 9.
Yeah, you don't come to any conclusions that weren't previously outed by the party already.
Oh, so I mean, what does everyone else think? I mean, further away from the Silver Queen, and right now seems to be the best option until we can find more allies.
I think those lowlands are starting to get to us, and some cool, fresh mountain air. I'm gonna just help brighten our minds.
Alright, well, it's a long walk. I'm not sure if maybe we can find some sort of transport up there, quicken the pace a little bit.
Well, maybe Blade could use his connections here and see if he can't get us a couple steeds, speed up this journey a little bit.
Yeah,
And
you
I
guys
mean,
have
it is a
noticed-
livestock town. There's definitely horses around.
Yeah, you guys noticed while you were kind of creeping around the market, like there's definitely cattle, horses, donkeys, pretty much any kind of livestock you want. This is a huge like farming hub for the country.
I mean, if I had to guess, it'd probably be about maybe 5 days, 5 to 7 day travel past Gathmara up into Hammerton. Took us 3 days to just get here from Hotmaw, and that's further to Hammerton than it is to Hotmaw.
Yeah, you would gauge that you're probably 2.5, 3.5 days travel from Gethmara Keep, and then an additional probably 2.5, maybe somewhere between 2.5 and 4 days travel from Gethmara Keep to Hammerton. So you're looking at about a week on the road if you don't stop in Gethmara.
Well, yeah, I think, Blade, how about you trying to see if we can get some sort of transport? At least to Gathmara, that'll shorten the trip a little bit, then maybe go on foot, or I don't know.
Blade nods in agreement, just says, let's get this tour on the road.
Okay, yeah, there's definitely a couple of different stables to choose from. You guys can purchase a variety of mounts from they have things as like riding dogs to war ponies, the standard stallion. They even have some war horses and things like they're pretty set up for different mounts. You can even pick up like a riding sheep or a riding ram if you prefer.
Oh, I like the sounds of either a dog or a ram. I mean, it's more appropriate to my size, and honestly, it probably cost me less. The bigger the horse, the more it's going to cost me.
And could one of these sheep provide milk for us on our journey?
This stable guy kind of looks at you questionably.
You can't milk a sheep, fucker.
I suppose you could milk a sheep. I don't know. We just kind of don't.
Oh, man.
So it's looking like It's eight gold pieces for a donkey or a mule. If you want a horse, you're looking at somewhere between 50 and 75 gold pieces. It's 30 gold pieces for a pony, and if you want to go as high as like a war horse, it's about 400 gold pieces. Aside from that, you probably need to have like some tack and harness and things. So you're looking at probably, I don't know, 3 to 5 more gold pieces worth of equipment, and whatnot.
And as far as like the dogs that go, like price wise,
The riding dog is similar to the pony in price. It's 30 gold pieces.
Now, I'm assuming a pony probably wouldn't be too great at holding up a 250-pound dragonborn.
The carrying capacity of a pony is 225 pounds.
Of course it is.
Well, how much is a ram? I would assume comparable to a pony.
The sheep, the riding sheep could be comparable to the pony, 30 gold pieces, but the riding ram is an even 100 gold pieces.
Well, I mean, is there any chance that you'd be willing to come down on that price a bit if you were sponsoring Blade Silverstring himself? And he'll not like point over to Blade.
Give me a persuasion check.
Blade's just kind of yawning and tuning his lute.
It's a 15.
Yeah, I tell you what, you buy the ram, I'll throw in the tack for free.
Glader would also just find a horse that looked like it could, hold his weight, and then
Okay,
and walk
yeah,
with
a
it.
standard like drafting horse, 50 gold pieces.
Now, see, I have the gold for this, but what would you say about possibly, taking some of that gold price off for this here gem? And I have a gem that we looted from someone. It says it's worth 10 GP, but I don't want to tell the salesman that. Now, this here, look at this beautiful, beautiful piece of stone here. You could probably sell this for nearly as much as this horse. Now, why don't you? What would you say about giving me a little bit of discount if I throw in this gem?
Go ahead and give me a deception check.
Oh man. Ah, shit. That's a 10.
With a 10, he rolled a 10, but he gets a +1, so pretty close. So I don't know. I mean, I'll take the gem, but I doubt it's worth 50 gold pieces. This here's a fine riding horse. He slaps it on the ass.
Blade will kind of speak up and just be like, I know you probably. Sorry, my name is Blade Silverstring, and your name? And he reaches his hand out.
I'm Stevie. I'm the ranch hand holding down the fort for boss. He's off doing whatever bosses do. But just me, Stevie, working the hand here. What can I do for you today? You look light. You probably do with a good pony, or you need something a little more sturdy.
It says, pleasure to meet you, Stevie. My name is Blade Silverstring. Here is my crew, and we are currently on tour, and we're looking for reliable steeds and ways of passage. And I'm hoping that maybe you can cut us a little bit of a deal on some of these steeds, and maybe perhaps trade of that I can maybe sing praise of your stable across towns that we travel.
And Renwick will call out from the side. Not to mention, you should offer a group rate. We are buying 5 steeds.
And Blade will kind of look around and be like, "Where's your finest steed?"
Oh, we have a handful of fine steeds. And he walks you over to several stalls, and there are some very large, muscular horses, varying colors. And he kind of gestures to them. Well, these are some of our finest war horses. And got about a dozen to choose from here, and each of them is well trained and big, muscly. Got some great conditioning, and they are everything you need in a horse.
And it says, "And how much would one of these fine steeds? And does any of them come in silver?"
There's a couple white ones, not quite silver, but they are 400 gold each.
Hmm.
And if they're they're pretty hefty horse there. You seem like you're a light nimble type. I've also got some of fine riding horses, a few draft horses as well. He walks you down to another section of the stables. Other horses, not quite as large or as muscly as the war horses, but the next section of horses, they are definitely a bit larger than your average horse, and they're very sinewy. They look, he assures you that they are quite fast, and these steeds will only cost you 75 gold pieces each. And there are several varying colors and whatnot. And then he points even farther down the stables and says, "And we have our draft horses down there. They're good enough horses. They're not as young or as strong as they once were, but they are broken and decent enough. A few old mares in there, but and those will run you 50 gold a piece." But aside from that, we'd have to go down to the ponies or the riding dogs or a riding ram for you.
Well, I'll be taking one of your finest ponies, sir. But would you be willing to say 30 gold for the pony and the equipment and the food for the pony as well, since we're doing you so much business today?
And how about 25 for each one of us if we all buy together, and I will sing praise of your stable.
Well, I mean, that depends. How much are you actually buying here? How many mounts are we getting in, and what are they exactly? I might be able to cut you a deal if you're gonna buy more than a mount or two, but my boss will be upset if I don't make a little bit of profit on these transactions, and I got mouths to feed too. I can't go back. To like apprenticing in the dung house.
Blade's gonna look at Gladiator and just be like, "So what sort of seat are you looking at, Gladiator?"
Well, I guess anything that'll hold my weight. And one of these draft horses will probably be fine.
So he's gonna turn back to Stevie and be like, "So what if we take one of these draft horses and 4 ponies, 5 steeds total, for 150 gold?"
So you want one horse and 4 ponies, and well, I suppose I could cut you a deal. But that doesn't. We're not including tack here. We're just talking about raw livestock. I might be able to work that in, but you're still gonna need, some saddles and some feed and whatnot.
He says, and how about an extra 25 gold, and I will sing praise of you and your boss.
All right, so an extra 25 gold will cover the standard, pack saddle and whatnot for everybody. But I'll tell you what, grand total, without any discounts or anything, comes out to 195 gold pieces. Now, I'll give you all these critters and the tack to take care of them, and you pay full price, 195. I will throw in a hauling wagon to take with you and haul the feed and whatnot for them.
Blade's going to look back at the party and be like, well, boys, do you think that's fair?
That's not really a bad deal. It's only about 40 gold a piece.
It's not the worst deal in the world. I mean, we don't really have much to haul, though, so do we need the wagon? I mean, for what it's worth, we could technically narrow it down, and we could probably get away with 3 mounts if we want to keep it cheap. Personally, I don't have a lot of extra gold lying around. It's not like we found a lot down in the the hole that we spent the last weekend.
What if Renwick? Now, hear me out. Ren will go to you, ride with me on the drive horse. Throw out the cart, and total of 175 gold. No, how much was the total? 195.
Yeah, right now with all the tack and saddles and everybody getting their own mount, it comes out to 195.
Blade's going to look back at the group and just be like, this is my tour bus. Be reasonable.
That's a fair point. I mean, we are trying to, show ourselves as the musician. Well, the tour group that we are. So we should travel in style. So, I mean, 195 is a fair price if we each get our own mount and Blade gets a wagon.
Stevie kind of grins. He's like, "So, deal?" He holds his hand out.
Blade's gonna hold his hand out, but he'll go 180 and see if he bites.
And he kind of gives him
give me a persuasion check.
gives him kind of like a gimpy handshake too. Pretty wussy.
It's a dirty 20.
Alright, he looks at you and says, alright, deal. And he shakes your hand.
Perfect. Well, you've got yourself a deal. And yeah, he'll start saddling up. He's gonna walk over to his pony though, and he's gonna pet the pony, and he'll look at him and be like, "I shall call you Pony Danza."
He dies. I'm just kidding.
Oh, come on! First the wagon and the war horses. Now Pony Danza.
Oh, that's the whole point of giving your players cool NPCs and pets, is so that you can take them from them, cause some emotional damage later. Okay, so with the mounts, you guys are set for several days of travel, but it does cost about 5 copper pieces per day per mount. So you're looking at 2.5 gold or so per day for to keep up on feed for your critters. But that's all 5. 2.5 gold covers all 5, I think.
Gotcha.
Actually, copper doesn't actually work that way. It says copper. Feed per day is 5 copper. So with the 5, I mean, it would actually be a silver piece for 2 animals to eat daily. So you're looking at 2.5 silver rather than gold. So it's almost an inconsequential amount as long as you're buying it and on the road with your critter.
All right. So, yeah, Glader's just gonna pick out, gonna walk around, try and find a good draft horse, and pick out a probably find maybe like a if there's any like jet black ones.
Oh yeah, certainly. There's some white ones, black ones, some beige ones. There's like a few polka dot ones.
Yeah, I'll just get a jet black one.
All right, yeah. And Stevie will kind of allow you guys to pick out whatever mounts you guys want, and he also kind of helps with the tack. He helps put the saddle on and whatnot. And Blade, he will help you get your wagon hooked up, and it's a very simple like hauling wagon. It's a couple of wooden wheels with a single wooden axle. It's empty. But it looks like maybe it's been used to haul hay and or manure. It's not like the fanciest of wagon. It's not like a covered wagon or anything. Just kind of a dual axle wooden shelf rather that you kind of haul behind you.
Can I rig up maybe one of my cards from my playing card set to just be on the wheel, so it kind of makes like a when we move?
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect.
Okay, so it takes a bit, Gladiator, you've probably burned another hour at this point. But you do kind of get all geared up and ready to roll. So, where are you guys heading to exactly? Towards Gethmara?
Believe.
Yeah, I think that's what the plan.
Okay, yeah, you guys find that, at least for the most part, the rolling hills continue. It's rather pleasant as you guys are kind of heading out. You continue through the grassy plains. You can see the Rustback Mountains off in the distance, so you kind of know where you're going. But unlike your venture from Hotma to Greenthorn, there is a road, so you don't actually have to make survival checks to navigate. But I am going to need somebody to roll me just a raw d20 encounter check. You guys go ahead and decide amongst yourselves who that will be. But after, I'd say shortly after noon. So you guys would be on the road for 2-3 hours at the very least. You are out of sight of Greenthorn. You're just kind of on the road, and it's just kind of some rolling hills, the occasional tree or whatnot here and there. But for the most part, it's actually pretty peaceful. The sun's shining, the birds are chirping.
Well, since this is Blade Silverstring's tour, I recommend that we'll roll the encounter check.
But we can all roll a d20, and whoever rolls the highest will roll the actual d20.
Rollies.
Have a roll off.
Let the roll off commence. 14.
9.
15.
9.
Well, it was meant to be. Will, roll that encounter check.
All right, here we go, boys. 7.
Adult platinum dragon flies through the air.
Oh yeah, everybody dies. Thanks, Will. No, just kidding. Okay, so as you guys kind of travel, your first day or so is somewhat uneventful. Gladeer, after some time, you guys all notice with a flash, a very bright golden flash. Gladeer kind of about halfway through the day, probably just before dusk, really, flashes this bright golden light and returns to his golden dragonborn form for the day. And there's still a road ahead, but for the most part, you guys kind of are starting to look for a decent campsite at this point. You can see the stars coming out as the sun creeps over the horizon, and your first day is so far uneventful. Is there a particular spot or a way you guys want to camp? Right next to the road, away from the road? You guys have bedrolls? Like, who would be taking what watch and whatnot?
Yeah, I guess as the sun starts to dip, Renwick's going to look at everybody and just be like, I think it's best that we find a quiet place away from the road. I mean, the last thing we need is for somebody that happens to be on the Silver Queen's side to stumble across us in the middle of nowhere.
Could I maybe make a survival check to maybe find a camp space that has like maybe some water, some ample grass for the steeds and stuff?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a survival check.
That'd be a natural one.
As the sun kind of goes down and you're looking at the rolling hills and whatnot, you swear you spot off in the distance a baying coyote, and it brings back some memories. You kind of just stare off deep in thought.
Everyone, there's banging coyotes nearby. Keep your wits about you.
Oh, fuck, I thought we left them in the desert. I can't believe they're out here, too.
Logus with the natural one, he's kind of having like a kind of a crisis, thinking that banging coyotes are following him.
Logan's got a little too close to the peyote in the desert.
I kind of like it. Makes me feel like I'm at home. Back in the desert. Coyote fucking.
So there is, on either side of the road, it's kind of a grassy, environment. There is the occasional like straggler of a tree here and there, but as far as you guys could tell, you could potentially set up camp in the rolling hills off the side of the road, out of view of the road, if that would be preferable.
Yeah, I think we'd want to kind of get off the road a little bit and
Yeah, definitely the move.
get a little out of view.
Okay, yeah. As the stars kind of come out, you guys wander over a nice hill or two to kind of obscure your campsite from the road, and you guys kind of set up camp. So, what does setting up camp entail for you lot? I imagine somebody starts a fire, maybe you get some food going. You guys got a bunch of livestock now. You guys got to kind of figure a way to maintain. Maybe you don't have a fire. I don't know. You guys going all silent travel mode, like the hobbits taking the forest path or whatever.
Renwick's going to go up to Logus and be like, hey, buddy, in the interest of saving our rations that are relatively non-perishable, why don't you see if you can catch us some dinner and I'll light a fire?
So, you said there was like some trees scattered, so could we have like picked a spot where there are like a couple trees around to like tie the horses to?
Oh yeah, certainly. I mean, they're sparse, but there is definitely a pair of trees you guys could throw down camp next to.
Could I make like a survival check to see if maybe there's any animals or tracks that I could hunt down maybe for some food?
Oh yeah, for sure. Go ahead and give me a survival check. What kind of animal are you looking for here in the rolling plains?
Maybe one of those goddamn banging coyotes, or like a deer or something. Maybe now something that would be enough to feed all of us. Maybe a small deer or something like that.
While he does that, Renwick's gonna dig a hole to set the fire in, so that it'll kind of hide the light. Essentially, like he's gonna do his best to cover the flame so that nobody sees it from a distance in the dark.
Okay, great.
Back to back natural one, and then on my next one I rolled a natural 20.
Oh, for sure. With that, you go stalking off to try to find a deer, and it doesn't take you long, and you find a big old buck hanging out, munching on some grass, and not far from camp either.
I want to being a ranger and all. Um, do I roll an attack on it to see if I hit it or this?
Yeah, go ahead and give me an attack roll. Yeah, you've let an arrow fly, and it flies true. I won't make you roll damage on, on hunting, but you definitely, with one swift motion, drop this big old buck, and it's hefty. It's kind of difficult to get back to the camp on your own, but you manage after a short time.
I'll walk up and sorry, friend. Just pay respects to the animal for its sacrifice. Make sure your meat doesn't waste away. And then I'll fashion a sled out of sticks and maybe some. Uh, I think I have rope in my backpack, so I'll fashion some sticks and fashion a sled so I can drag this back to the camp.
Okay, yeah, for sure. You take a moment to make it easy on yourself, and you eventually return to camp with a fresh kill.
So when I get to camp, I'll walk in with this good sized buck and just start going to work on it. Maybe skinning it, doing all that good stuff, getting all the meat.
Okay, yeah, give me a nature check real quick.
It's a 16 total.
All right, with a 16, I'll say everybody gets a healthy portion of venison, and you can go ahead and add a buckskin to your item inventory. And yeah, the deer itself is plenty to feed the party and then some.
That is not a bad haul, Logus. Appreciate it.
So the Renwick gets the fire going, and you guys kind of sit around the campfire, kind of, I guess, planning your next moves. As the meat kind of cooks up, and you guys go about filling your bellies. Is there anything in particular you guys want to do before venturing on to the next day?
Glader would want to kind of think back to the execution. And is there anything kind of, because he didn't see Marineth the first night, was there anything about her or her methods of execution that he potentially recognized from his past?
Go ahead and give me, we'll say, knowledge history check.
As he's brooding by the fire with his deer steak. Not great. Fucking 8. Jesus.
Not particular. I mean, as a paladin, you can kind of recognize the difference between divine and arcane magics. And as far as you know, you have not ever really seen nor heard of a spell like the one Marineth used to behead those rebels, or captives rather. Probably innocent people. You couldn't see because their faces were hidden by bags, but. You, aside from knowing that she is possibly a different kind of magic user than you've ever encountered before, you're not sure.
Gotcha. Alright. He'd probably turn in early, pull out his blanket, and just curl up leaning next to a log. Dagger in hand as he falls asleep.
Okay, and yeah, the night is for the most part uneventful. You guys split up the watches, but nothing really comes of it. It is a pretty peaceful night under the stars in this like lush green country. And eventually the sun peeks over the sky the next day, and travel will begin again. Imagine you guys care for your livestock and get back on the road. You guys weren't too far away from. And as you guys kind of continue down the road towards Gethmara, the rolling hills, they do slowly kind of become bigger. The ups and downs slowly draw out, and as you kind of notice off in the horizon that the Rustback Mountains slowly seem to be getting closer. And go ahead, Blade, and give me another encounter check. Just a raw d20.
DM, in the morning, Locris would have taken his disguise kit, went over to Glader, and kind of darkened up his gold scales to make them look more bronze on his face and hands.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you guys can take a little prep time, whether you do it in the morning or we'll say go ahead and give me. I imagine you got like a tool proficiency with the disguise kit, don't you, Locris?
Yes, with disguise kit, I have proficiency.
Okay, go ahead and give me a roll with proficiency to kind of see how well you can make up Gladier.
18.
Yeah, you do a pretty good job. You smudge it just right in the parts of Gladier has like a big traveling cloak. You smudge it just right to where his hands and face, at least beneath the cloak, pass for not golden at the moment.
Yeah, I just wanted to put that out there before we ran across travelers on the road.
Glader's just sitting there grumpily accepting his fate as he gets makeup put all over his face first thing in the morning.
Okay. Yeah, you guys probably have a little a breakfast routine and whatnot, and hitch up your horses, and Blade has to rehitch his wagon and whatnot. But
Renwick's gonna call over as he's applying the disguise and just be like, "Make sure you use enough bronzer."
Oh.
Oh, man.
Okay, so you guys venture forth. What did you roll for an encounter check, Will?
I got a natural 20.
Okay.
So we encounter a bunch of fairies that grant wishes, right?
So 20 wasn't exactly a good thing in this
I figured.
encounter. So as you guys are kind of making your morning preparations, and you head out on the road. How is it on the road you guys are traveling? I'm going to need a marching order for this encounter. Who is where?
I'd imagine Blade would be in the cart.
I feel
I'd
like
imagine as a ranger, I'd probably be up in the front
I
somewhere.
think Renwick would be alongside the cart on his pony. Or, well, I guess. Yeah, we're back on the road, right? Sorry. We made it through
Correct,
the night, right?
correct.
Okay,
You
yeah,
guys are
just making
heading
sure.
out on the second day of travel, and I need a marching order.
Yeah, I'll be
I would-
on the left side of the cart with the pony, like 5 or 10 feet away from the cart.
I would think Logus and Glader would be up front, Glader knowing where we're going, and Logus being the eyes. Probably the cart in the back. Because it's a cart.
Yeah.
yeah. So I think Glader Logus up front because
Locris in the middle, because that's the last spot. And then Renwick and Blade in the rear.
pulling the cart. So are you just like Blade? Are you just like chariot style behind your horse if you're sitting in the cart?
Totally.
I love it.
He might just be carrying my instrument. Actually, never mind. I always carry my loot.
All right. Yeah, so
Okay,
Glader,
so yeah, as you guys kind of are making your way down the road towards Githmar Keep, everybody go ahead and give me perception checks.
maybe the dice won't fuck me this time. They fucked me.
Yeah, I was fucked too. 3.
It's a 6 for Renwick.
Natural 20 for a total of 28.
8 for Glader. At least one of them.
So I mean, Logus, you kind of spot it with you have some keen eyesight, but you see over in the not too distant up the not too distant path. You see what you believe to be a squadron of silver soldiers headed your way.
Guys, I think I see a troop of soldiers coming on. So we need to either get our story straight or we need to get off the path as soon as possible before they spot us. Do I get the sense that they're heading towards us? Have they spotted us or are they just on the path?
You are moving up. You're traveling on the same road in opposite directions, essentially.
So more than likely, they most definitely have seen us.
You have seen them. You're not sure if they have seen you yet, but they're still quite a distance. But you guys are definitely on a collision course.
I don't know that we have time to hide a cart off the road. We just got to play up the traveling bard angle.
Or this would be a perfect spot to set up an ambush.
We can, but it's one of those why start a fight if we don't need to.
True.
I guess Blade is going to pull out his loot and just kind of start playing music casually.
Was Logus able to see how many there are with his elf eyes?
It's a squadron, so he can't like pick them all out. But you'd say somewhere between 10 and a dozen. You're looking at. It's not like a few. It's quite a bit. It's about at least a dozen soldiers.
Yeah.
AKA don't start shit.
I reckon we just let them pass us on by. Just play off of Blade. Blade, help. Bring out your charm. Yeah, so I guess we just keep on moving like a steady pace, not like looking like we're running from something or.
We'll slow down, move to the side of the road to give them space, and see if they just pass us.
Okay, yeah. You guys kind of maintain your current course, and you eventually you do come upon this squadron of silver soldiers. You notice that they all wear, you can identify the leaders by their garb. Similar to back in Greenthorn, one of them wears like a purple flowing cape. And majority of this squadron is Dragonborn, silver or white Dragonborn specifically. There are a few humans scattered in there, but as this squadron kind of marches upon you, they halt in the road and they call out to you, "Whoa, whoa, halt there, traveler!" And the silver dragonborn in like chainmail with a flowing purple cape kind of approaches the party, and he I guess he walk up to Logus and Renwick. I mean, Logus and Gladier, you guys are up front, and so he's just kind of, "Oh, what have we got here? Travelers, merchants, what do you guys got going on?" He kind of halts you to question you.
Well, we are a little bit of everything. We're here because our friend here back here is a traveling musician. We just travel from town to town and see if maybe we can find some work for him, play a couple taverns, play some music, maybe sell some of our wares that we find on the road, and just come into the town, see what's going on, make some coin, and move on our way.
Ah, really then? Well, have you found any good wares along the roadside on these ventures recently? Anything worth taking a look at? He kind of gives you a good elbow to the ribs. Hey, what do you got going on?
No, I wouldn't say we've found anything recently. Our luck has been on the downside lately. Not as many, we don't come across as many travelers to do trade with or find anything worthy of late.
No, well, that's unfortunate. I don't imagine you've seen any strange activities, any rebelliously strange activities around these parts.
Now that you speak of it, the last town that we played in had some business happen to it while we were playing the tavern, but other than that, on the road, we haven't really seen much.
Well, that's unfortunate. Where you going? Where you guys heading to?
He's gonna look at Gladier because Logus can't remember the name of the city we're heading to.
Actually, sir, we're heading up to Gethmara. We heard that it might be a good spot for our friend here to play some music and tell his stories and just reveal his talents. And sounds like there might be some coin involved there, and figured me to lead him up there.
Renwick will call back from the back and be like, "Not to mention the mountain getaway. This creative genius needs absolute peace and quiet and the beauty of the mountains to write his next ballad." And he'll just kind of like motion over to Blade, who's lounging in the wagon.
So Blade is just gonna kind of be like calling from behind, just be like, "Gladier, Logus, why are we stopped?"
Well, Sir Blade, we were just stopped by these fine soldiers. They're just doing their job, nothing wrong. They're just making sure that the roads are safe. Isn't that right, sir?
Oh, absolutely, he calls out, and he goes, "Oh, and what's her name?" And he's snapping his fingers, and he's thinking of the the elven woman there that had beheaded all those folk.
Oh, you mean Mirnet? Is that what her name was?
He said, "Oh, that's it. You know, she had talked about going to Gethmara because we had played previously in a couple nights before at the one of the taverns and had heard our songs and would actually pointed us in this direction. And you know, me not being familiar with the area, figured I would take it upon to go under her direction. And I feared that I wouldn't want to. I mean, you wouldn't want to kind of interrupt that, would you?"
Go ahead and give me a deception check.
Would Logus and I have been like helping him with that? Like, can we give him a little advantage because we kind of crafted the story, then he came in?
Yeah, you guys RP'd the story pretty good. You guys stuck to the plan. Go ahead and roll with advantage.
So without advantage, I got 26.
Damn.
And I got a 17 on the next one.
Oh, well, I didn't know Meredith was the, music connoisseur type. She always seemed a little sociopathy to me. But, yeah, I mean, she's not exactly, she's small town stuff, She runs Greenthorn probably with an iron fist. But, on the roads, it's, us doing the Silver Queen's bidding, keeping the roads clear, like your friend said here. Which is, speaking of, you guys look all to be in order. So, just go ahead and show me your travel permit, and you could go right along.
So Blade is just going to be like, travel permits. She had never mentioned anything of this. I figured it'd be important, if we were to be traveling to Gethmara. Are these important?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty standard, traveling permit. I could sell you one. You probably should have got one before you left. We got rebels running around crazy. We've got bounty hunters scouring every corner, trying to, bring in some coin. How do we know you is who you say you are without a travel permit? I might could, gift you a travel permit. A little bit of a road tax, if you will.
Can we
Nice.
insight check him
Absolutely.
to see if
Go
he's
ahead and-
basically shaking us down?
Go ahead.
I'm
and give me
gonna
insight.
get in on that.
Oh, for sure. Go ahead. Everybody, go ahead and roll insight.
16.
19. Finally rolled. Or no, I'm sorry, 18. 18.
8 for Will.
17.
Blade, you for sure forgot your damn travel permit. I can't believe you would let some so important space. Well, Chris, you also forgot your travel permit. The rest of you, you can for sure tell this guy's trying to shake you guys down. The road tax, the travel permit is not real.
Renwick's gonna speak up and just be like, "Well, boys, you must have missed the memo because clearly these permits aren't necessary anymore. I mean, it wasn't but 24 hours ago that we were having a drink in the pub with Mirnoreth herself, and I feel like she wouldn't have neglected to mention that, considering she heard that we had just drifted into town from somewhere else without permits. So, something tells me you might want to let this one go."
Blade's just like, best to keep on good terms with her.
Go ahead and roll. Give me a persuasion check with advantage, Renwick.
Now that they're up close, you said that there was about a dozen of them. Is there can I get like an exact number of how many people are here now?
Yeah, I'll give you. Go ahead and give me a perception check. I'll give you the basic stuff no matter what. If you roll well,
I got a 19 on that. Persuasion.
You could tell he takes a step and kind of thinks about he's kind of torn between insulted and you technically being correct, and he looks back to his unit of soldiers, and they all tighten up. They all stand to attention immediately, and he looks over to his lieutenant and calls him over. What do you think? These look like rebels to you? And the lieutenant kind of gives you guys a once over, stopping only briefly while looking at Gladier. And nope, looks like a traveling band to me. Yeah. He looks back and, all right, well, I suppose we could overlook some of this, but I'll be having some words with Meredith about the kind of traveling company she keeps. I'd like to see them reinstate that road tax. Really, he kind of grumbles as he motions his people to the side. Logos, what did you get on your perception?
21 total.
Okay, so there are 12 of them total. 10 of them are just like simple soldiers. They have chainmail and a blade at their hip. They all kind of stand in formation. 2 of them seem to also carry shields alongside their blades. And one of those 2 shield bearers also has the purple flowing cape. So there's about 12 of them in total. And they do, after briefly trying to shake you guys down, you guys kind of call their bluff. And they're like, oh, well, and they march off. They stand to the side and allow you guys to pass unhindered.
As they're leaving, Renwick will turn to him and just be like, when you see Myrnith, tell her that Alvin sends his regards, and he'll tip his hat.
It's Alvin. Okay. You hear him kind of
They
grunt.
don't know my name, so in theory, they would assume I am Alvin the Halfling.
True. They kind of grunt. Oh, all right. Yeah, well. And they step to the side, allow you guys to pass. Yeah. And the second day of travel, aside from running into these silver soldiers, is somewhat uneventful. Once again, the stars creep out overhead, and you guys are trying to... it is about the time to locate a campsite. And once again, so are you guys going the same tactics, kind of off the road, off the beaten path, I assume?
Yeah, I think so.
Jesus, when it comes to me finding a goddamn campsite, I'm fucking useless. Rolled a 9 total.
So at this particular spot, while you guys kind of try to find, you set up camp for a day. After traveling, you guys come to like a fork in the road. You would know that you guys can kind of see it's much closer to the Rustback Mountains than you were in Greenthorn. You can kind of make out the mountainous ridges and things, but you do come to a fork in the road. Left will take you to towards like the river, but right will take you towards Gethmara. And you guys know that as you guys are kind of setting up camp, Gethmara is only a half day's travel or so from this position. So you guys will be reaching Gethmara the following day, roughly around noonish. So you guys can make preparations for that as far as Gladier's ability to hide and whatnot.
Would I know if there's like a way to circumvent Yethmar, or do we have to go through it to get to Hammerton?
So the road travels through Gethmara to get to Hamilton, but you don't have to like stop in Gethmara. You could just continue traveling. You wouldn't actually have to enter the city, but you will have to come to like the very edge of the city where the road kind of leads its way through Gethmara into the mountains.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah, so as the sun kind of sets, you guys kind of pitch up a little campsite. Is there anything in particular you guys need to do before reaching the city of Gethmara in the morn? Anything you guys need to prep or prepare?
Renwick will go up to Logus and just be like, "Well, our system worked last night. You want to try it again? I'll dig a hole and set a fire, and you find us some dinner."
Oh, you for sure still have venison left. Like,
Even better.
He would. The party would be hard pressed to eat an entire deer in an evening.
Perfect. Well, in that case, how about I set a fire and you cook the dinner, and I'll take first watch when everybody goes to rest.
Glader would just set to work making sure the horses are getting a good grazing spot and, hitched up to some sort of tree or bush or something.
Okay, yeah, there's still some sparse greenery. There's a tree here and there. You don't have any trouble finding a spot to tie up the horses.
Do I need to roll anything to see how well the food's cooked, or is that just passive thing?
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and roll like a performance check, I guess.
Well, here goes a straight D20. Make sure. Yeah. Oh my god, I rolled a 5. It's dog shit.
You for sure like dropped it in the dirt, like as you were going to like shish kebab it. It's like covered in like it's like gritty with a little bit of dirt and sand on it.
Well, thank you so much, Logus. This was a very nutritious filling. Good. Yeah, thank you.
Awful polite there, ugly dear.
Logus is gonna be like, thank you. That was a recipe my grandmother used to use.
Oh.
So yeah, as the night kind of presses on, it is ultimately uneventful. Again, it is quite a pleasant evening and underneath the stars. And you guys find yourself awakening in the morning and kind of begin your rituals for heading the road. Is there anything you guys need to do before heading off?
Just reapply my makeup. Or would I need to? Do Dragonborn sweat? Like, would I like sweat off makeup, or is it just still just?
Rub on your pillow, bedroll, or blanket.
Yeah,
Probably could just use a touch up anyway.
Yeah, you might could use a touch up if you're going through. You know, Gladier, that the likelihood of you coming into close proximity with guards is a lot. You would imagine that Gethmara Keep is probably teeming with silver soldiers, and at the very least, you guys have to walk right by the front door, the front gates.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess reapply his disguise kit, and then he would also just be at the ready. Just I don't know. I guess just in case to activate the girdle anyway. Just if he starts drawing too much attention.
Okay,
Nope.
yeah. Go ahead and give me another check there, Locris, as you kind of apply this disguise to Gladier.
Also, I can't remember if you said it the other times I've done it, but is there any sort of like visual arcane stuff that happens when I activate it? Because I know when it runs out, there's like a golden flash, and I turn back to the golden skull color. But I can't remember. Is there like some sort of like is there a flash when I change colors? Read it. Or is-
When you activate it doesn't flash as much as it just kind of fades. Picture like how Mystique on X Men kind of has like a those scales that just kind of form. That's kind of what goes over your body. But as the magic dissipates, it is definitely like a golden flash.
Yeah. So it's definitely more subtle activating it than when it deactivates.
Correct. Yeah, activating it is almost instantaneous, and no like magical swooshing, popping, glowing, or explosions.
Okay, cool. Just want to keep that in mind.
And I'm just gonna do Goodberry before the night's over.
Okay, yeah. So you go ahead and bust out, what is it, 10 good berries or whatnot, and then you can replace the spell slot the next day.
23 on that roll.
Damn.
Oh, so, okay. Remind me what the roll was?
23 for the disguise kit to touch up
correct.
later.
Let me get out my notes real quick. Yeah, you even better than before. When you first met Glader, he kind of had like a ruddy complexion from kind of working in the field and embracing the dirt and whatnot, and he definitely gives the appearance of a bronze or a brass dragonborn rather than a gold.
All right. I suppose it's time we head off. Um, let's get going. Glad you're looking a little anxious and forlorn and uh, excited all at the same time as they kind of head off towards his ancestral home.
Yeah, you guys kind of get on the road and go ahead and give me one last encounter check, Will, as we kind of get within range of Gethmara Keep.
Right. I had previously rolled
Roll
a
over.
6.
Okay, so you guys slowly approach Gethmara Keep, and from far away, you kind of see the Rustback Mountains come into view, and they are quite grand indeed, spanning as far as you can see with these rugged, red, jagged rocks, rock formations jutting up in every direction. It seems. As you guys approach Gethmara Keep, Gethmara Keep is a city within a city. The city itself, or the keep itself, contains like many rooms, shops, artisans, forges, storage warehouses full of goods, as well as within its walls, it's got like a large farm and a couple of small cattle ranches. The outer walls of the keep have attracted many peoples over the years. Many homes of the working class live surrounded by the markets and the shops and the inns and the taverns. Several nearby farms and ranches can be seen kind of beyond the city, just on the outskirts. And the city itself is nestled at the base of the Rustback Mountains in the Rustback Mountain Range. And you can also notice as you kind of approach, will look to be a few like mining encampments, perhaps off in the not too far distance from the Gethmara Keep. But as you approach, this giant stone structure kind of just juts out over, towers over, this the town and the city around it, and it looks like quite the building. It is obviously a military building, and it is huge. It looks like it could, in itself harbor 50,000 plus troops. Like, it is a big ass concrete structure, and aside from like the inner city where you guys would know like the nobles and the ruling class would kind of prevail. The outer city, as you approach, it leaves a lot to be desired. Gladier, this is not the home that you left behind. The cobbled streets, the well painted houses. You have thoughts and visions of children playing in the streets and a clean, well ordered community, and that is not what you find around Gethmara Keep now. Many buildings have been, looks like, partially destroyed. Some of them burnt. Many of them boarded up. The once clean and flowing streets are now littered with filth and trash and garbage. The people are dirty. They look onward as you approach, and there is no glee or joy or in their eyes. They look at you with fear and curious fear. And as your party kind of approaches, you have to get through the city proper, I guess, or around it. And so it's kind of your guys' call as you kind of approach the gate. Though it is, the outer city is kind of impoverished and a little more crime-ridden. Gethmara Keep is, and the city around it is one of the largest in all of Hordenshire. Quite the opportunity to hit different markets. You could imagine there's probably places to buy magical and mundane items here. Dozens of inns, dozens of taverns, and you guys kind of have to make a choice. Are you going to make a pit stop in Gethmara, or are you going to press on to Hammerton?
Well, boys, as much as I'd like to stop in this city, I feel like it's pretty overpopulated with soldiers. We'd be really taking a gamble, and we do need to try to see if we can find a dwarf that can tell us where this dagger came from. I'm kind of the mindset we bypass and head straight for Hammerton.
On the flip side, it wouldn't hurt to maybe stop and check a couple of shops, seeing as Gladier has his disguise up right now, and now would be the most opportune time to do it.
Well, every minute we spend in this town is risking a run-in with the soldiers again. So if you guys are willing to take that chance, I've got your backs. But that's, completely up to you. It does seem a tad risky.
Well, I mean, it seems this place has a lot of shops, and if maybe someone's looking for something specific, this would be the place to find it. But if everyone's good, I don't see much other reason to stop unless we hit a tavern and maybe shore up our story a little bit and have Blade do a performance, maybe get some information.
Now, that's not a bad idea. We could just do a quick stop for a night in a tavern, have Blade play. That'll definitely solidify our story that we are, in fact, traveling around just to play shows, and then make for Hammerton first thing in the morning.
Gladier's kind of just silent through this whole exchange. Just kind of looking around at the city that he once lived in, seeing how torn down it's become and decrepit, and it's just very somber in this moment.
You notice kind of as someone who's from here, like, not only is like the outer city a lot less pleasant than it used to be, but you can tell that just from the general upkeep of things. Like even the keep itself, it was like your people took pride in keeping it clean and sharp looking, and you can tell it's been neglected. People aren't caring. You can see like burn scorches around some of the windows in the keep and whatnot. Like looks like a battle was fought here, and then kind of forgotten. The invaders did not care to restore the damage they had done. So there's lots of charred blocks or missing chunks altogether, and you guys definitely notice a pretty heavy concentration of silver soldiers, similar to the crew you kind of just found on the road. There are a dozen at a time units just kind of making regular sweeps around the city. It looks like they're running drills. Perhaps they have like a route that they take. But you notice almost as many silver soldiers as citizens here.
Well, are we having second thoughts about this show? Or do we play the show to solidify our alibi? I'm a bit torn with this concentration of soldiers. It does seem a bit risky, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like anybody's quite onto us yet.
Second thought, Renwick. I mean, you don't think this is kind of low whispered, like I'm purposely don't want nobody to hear. You don't think at the mention of Marionette that someone might want to talk to her and mention us, and if we're still in town, come and find us and ask us about why you said what you said?
Well, you're talking about the Alvin thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
a
Alvin's dead,
sorceress.
and quite frankly, I can't say that a higher up would have known one of Brucey's random henchmen. I mean, he only got promoted in the time it took us to make it to Brucey's camp, so really he was no name to her. That was more for me, and he kind of grins a little bit. But Meredith's going to ask questions one way or another, and the best we could do is to lay low and cover our asses. Plus, I mean, if we play a show here and she knows that we did pass through Gethmara Keep, then there's a good chance that she'll be sending people to the surrounding areas, which means that somebody will come for us in Hammerton. But if we bypass this right now, all she knows is that we headed in the direction of Gethmara, and nobody's seen us since.
I just imagine that most well, there's not very many traveling parties with an elf, half elf, or halfling, and a dragonborn. And we do kind of stick out like sore thumbs around these parts, specifically since me and Blade here seem to be the only elves in the area at any given time.
Well, then it's probably best that we just get out of town. We're going to draw attention if we play a show, even if we are under the guise of a traveling band. I mean, like you said, the whole party sticks out. So maybe it's best that we just bypass this and go straight to Hammerton.
Blade, what do you think? Stop and play a show to show up our story a little bit? Maybe leave after the show, or do we keep on going? No, this has to be rough for you, Gladier, being back home and all. And what do you think?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure if I can stay in my old home when it's looking like this, down without trying to do something to fix it. And now is not the time to fix it.
Well, then I think that's our answer. To Hammerton it is.
Okay, yeah, you guys kind of briefly stop at the crossroads, kind of considering it, and you move along the outskirts of Gethmara Keep, the city of the Golden Dragonborn, and you aside from the telling, you can tell that it's very kind of an impoverished area. You on your way through, you can kind of see some of the guards harassing, giving some of the locals a hard time when and where they can. Seem to be enjoying it, and you can see the hardship in the people here. Like it used to be such a cultured and powerful, like a happy place, and now it seems run down. Seems like the people are oppressed, and you know as the former most powerful allies of the or as the former most powerful enemies rather of the Silver Queen. It seems like the citizens in and around Gethmar Keep seem to have caught the worst end of the stick as far as punishments she's dealt out to the clans and things that opposed her in the past. However, after a short stint, roughly an hour or so, you guys make your way around the city and into the mountains, the Rustback Mountains, in the direction of Hammerton Village. The first night seems to be all as well. Nothing to bother you guys so much. The trail twists and winds through these rocky mountain as kind of like a region. So finding a camp spot that is secluded, kind of off the road, isn't always going to be like an option. You guys could camp roadside. There's different intervals where you guys could potentially set up a camp, or you guys could try to like locate a cave or something. But several hours after passing the Gethmar Keep by, you guys find yourself in this rocky, mountainous terrain, slowly heading upward, and you guys have to once again search for a suitable place to camp.
Things later,
Logus, you haven't let us down so far.
things later would probably help Logus at this point too. Just looking around trying to find something because he's probably wandered through this area a lot.
Go
Can
ahead
you
and give me some
roll
perception
right?
checks.
Is it perception or survival?
We'll say. Well, what are you trying to? What are you looking for specifically? I guess.
We're trying to find a proper spot to camp and, you know, plenty of vegetation for the steed and stuff like that.
We'll say you could go either way, whichever on this particular one.
Natural 20 for a total of 28.
Nice. You, Logus, you spot not too far off the road. There's actually what looks to be a little cave. It's not very deep. You kind of look into it. It's just big enough that if you guys left your animals outside, you guys would all be able to make a fire in like a sheltered area, and you guys could bed down safely for the night.
I'm gonna try my hand at cooking the venison again for everybody.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Give me another performance check.
God, it's worse than yesterday. 3 total.
So maybe you forgot to like pack it right, but you feel like maybe the meat might be a little bit spoiled, and as you kind of go to inspect it, you flub it and you drop like a good sized portion of the meat you intended to serve your party into like the ash of the fire. So it's got like a very sooty, like ash covered flavored venison.
Renwick's
Mage
gonna
hand
take a
might
look
play
at all
away.
of that. Renwick's gonna take a look at all that and be like, well, I think I'm gonna see if I can find something a little bit fresher, and he's gonna just go see if he can find like a squirrel or a rabbit or something small to
Okay.
feed himself.
Go ahead and give me a survival check.
Oh fuck! I rolled a natural one. Oh wait, I can re-roll ones. Thanks, Halfling. 13.
Hope you roll two.
Or sorry, 14. I have a +2.
Yeah, you come upon a bush, a shrub rather, and underneath you spot a couple of munching rabbits munching on the lower hanging branches.
Perfect. Well, yeah, I guess I'm gonna take a shot at it.
Okay, yeah, give me an attack roll.
Natty 16. I think that's a +7. I gotta refresh. I forgot that I have a hand
you
crossbow
drilled
now.
him for sure. I won't make you roll damage on it or nothing. You take down one of the rabbits with a quick, clean kill, and I'll return to camp a short time later with a fresh coney.
Now, you said there were multiple rabbits, right?
Oh yeah, do you want to go for both of them?
So I have crossbow expert, so I actually ignore the loading property of crossbows. So I was gonna see if I could take a shot at the second one, just
Oh,
like real quick,
absolutely.
like double tap.
Oh yeah, for sure. Give me another attack roll.
Fuck yeah. That is a 16.
Once again, you give him the quick double tap, and you've got yourself a pair of fresh conies and a well placed bolt. Didn't destroy any of the
Sweet.
meat.
Well, he'll pull his bolts out and wipe them off in the grass, pop them back in his quiver there, and then he'll carry his kills back. He'll toss one toward the party and I guess start cooking his own rabbit.
So when he was out there, I like to imagine that when he was walking back, Logan steps out of the shadows. I was following him the whole time. Just didn't see me. I was like, was the meat not good enough for you, Renwick?
Well, I mean, you dropped it on the floor, and it is 3 days old, and it's not like we've got any ice lying around to keep it fresh. So, quite frankly, I just don't want to be sick on the trail.
Okay. Duly noted. Then I'll step back into the shadows.
That being said, I got a rabbit for you.
Leader is sitting in the corner munching on some rations.
You found these in the shrubs?
Well, yeah, I didn't go buy them at the store.
Did you notice any shrub sluts?
I didn't notice any shrub sluts, but that's the trick. You oftentimes don't notice them. They're sneaky buggers.
Oh, shrub sluts. They're dangerous. All right. So after a fair dinner, you guys kind of plumping yourself up. Remick, go ahead and give me a performance check. See how well you can roast yourself a hare, I guess.
Oh boy, here we go. 10.
It's edible. It's a little bit better flavor than a gritty, sooty venison for sure.
Hey, I'll take it.
All right, so the cave kind of keeps you guys sheltered for the evening. The warm fire kind of transfers to the stones. It's kind of a pleasant evening in your little cave, and as morning peaks, the party is once again ready to set out. Aside from any morning rituals, I'm probably going to need another encounter check, Will.
All right. We got a 5.
Okay. As you guys kind of get your gear together and mount up. You guys continue along this mountainous, rocky path. You guys on your way to Hammerton. And following the road's not too difficult. The road's kind of cracked and beaten down at certain places, but for the most part, it's actually well maintained. As you guys come across, you go across a bend here or there. I need the party to give me perception checks as you guys kind of come across this one of these bends.
I'm daydreaming.
17 for Glider.
14 for Renwick.
24 for Logus.
Oh, wow. Okay, 24 for Logus, huh? Logus, you kind of sense something ahead. You notice, like, there's a ripple in the ground, crosses the road ahead. And it's weird because the stone briefly acted like, how you would imagine water to. It kind of just parted and rippled and then stopped. But you are confident that something is not as it seems up ahead on the path.
Oh man, something else is happening up in the path. Or something weird going on up there, like a rippling in the ground. Hey Renwick, you wanna go and see if there's any rabbits over there?
Well, I don't want to be the sacrifice. If I'm being honest, you happen to be our most survivable character, given your proclivity toward, being on trails and whatnot. Perhaps you should inspect it.
Oh, it looks good over here. I'm just saying, looks like a good spot for rabbits. In my expertise as a ranger, since you love rabbits.
Perhaps you should fire an arrow at it. See if you can't provoke the ripple from a distance.
Locris will pull up Mage Hand and just send it towards the ripple.
I love the idea that Logus and Renwick are just bickering at each other, and Locris is just like rolls his eyes, just fucking over it.
What's the distance on Mage Hand there, Lucas?
Should be 30 feet, I think.
Or so 8 feet.
So Logus would he spotted it a bit ahead. You guys have about 100 feet or so of distance from where Logus had spotted the ripple. It might have been lower if he rolled lower, but he spotted it from afar. He's put like a 24 on that check, I think.
Is there maybe like a tree or something that perhaps Renwick and I or something can maybe climb up and get a better look at the area ahead?
You look around, and it's not that the area is void of vegetation. It's just void of like big vegetation. There's some small like brush and things here and there, but for the most part, you're looking at boulders, jagged rock formations. But you certainly could jump on top of one of these to get a better view. But they're only 5-6 foot tall boulders. In every direction. Nothing super large, unless you wanted to like scale the side of the mountain.
Glider's just gonna hop off his horse, pick up a fist-sized rock, and just chuck it. I'm pretty sure he can make about 100-foot throw. Just aim for the spot that Logus pointed out.
Okay, go ahead and give me, we'll say like a strength check.
How tall is the mountain? Like, say if we wanted to scale it, like, what are we looking at?
You're looking at several hundred feet. None of them are particularly small. They're all kind of jagged and rugged, but some of them might be considered just difficult terrain. You could definitely get up there, it would take a while. Others are just like a straight up and down scale, like you would be like rock climbing.
It's a 21. Strength's my thing. Finally, something good.
You hurl a rock and you heft it, and it flies pretty true down the road, and it cracks, and that's a loud smash as it kind of lands, and for a short time, everything is silent, eerily so. You notice that the chirping birds and the buzzing crickets all around you guys seem to stop. And everybody go ahead and give me another perception check.
18 for Renwick.
A natural
Blade.
20 for 21.
11.
Roll a 12.
So Gladiator and Logos, you don't really pick it up so much, but Renwick and Locris, you for sure felt like maybe off of your peripheral, the ground looked to ripple like water, and not too far away. It looked like maybe possibly headed in your direction. It's hard to tell from the distance, but you're confident that there is some sort of subterranean creature lurking around the road in this area. May or may not have just been alerted to your presence by the tossing of the stone.
And we could have potentially sneaked past this thing. Why don't we think about that?
We really are bad at being subtle, aren't we? Well, boys, I guess we best be ready. Would it honestly be best to leave all the horses tied up to the wagon back here so that they don't get injured, and just go forward and try to clear the road ourselves? I'd hate to lose yet another wagon and all of our mounts.
It's probably a good idea.
Well, we don't necessarily know if it knows where we're at yet. It just felt the rock be landed in a distance, and I would assume it's going towards the noise.
Well, I mean, we're on a narrow path going up a mountain, so unless you see another way that we can have a bunch of ponies and a wagon climb the mountain, I think we have to pass this thing.
Or we could potentially sit still and see if it moves on its own accord.
I mean, I suppose we could give it some time, but, we're losing daylight.
Speaking of, go ahead and Gladiator, you're exempt from this particular role. Everybody else, give me some animal handling checks.
8 for Blade.
Oh, that's great. I've got a +0, so this will be wonderful. Actually, 13. Not bad.
12 for Locris.
12 for Logis as well.
What did you get, Blade?
I got an 8.
Okay, so the general feeling of the horses kind of doing what you want, they're pretty broke. They haven't really resisted you guys much, but it seems out of nowhere, almost like a sixth sense. Your horses start acting real jittery. They start neighing and whining. They don't want to move forward. They do not want to obey your commands. In fact, they throw such a fit at moving forward that Renwick is the only one of you capable of actually staying on the horse. The horses buck. The rest of you will not. Not forcefully enough to cause damage, but the horse is acting in such a way that you find it difficult to stay on the beast. So Gladier had already kind of removed him, got off of the horse to throw the rock. But as far as the party goes, Renwick's the only one able to actually stay on his beast.
Ooh, easy, Pony Danza.
So
Easy boy.
Logos is going to hit the floor, and for once a day, he can cast Speak with Animals at will. So he's going to turn to his mountain. John Bon Pony, what's going on? What's bothering you?
He gives a snort, kind of looks at you, kind of stunned that you can suddenly speak his language. He says, the smell of death. We can smell it. Something's hunting. There's a hunter here. We can smell it. It smells like death. This is not a safe place.
Wait, going to try to calm the cart down.
Is it up ahead on the path?
We can feel it under the ground. It is vibrating the road. It is circling us. It knows we're here. We need to leave. We need to leave now. The horse tries to break, your grasp on it. Go ahead and give me we'll say a strength check to try to physically stop this horse from breaking out and running.
This more than likely, this horse is going to run off because my strength is dog shit.
Gladiator would also want to do something to make sure his horse don't.
Wait, that's a sweet one.
Oh. Rolled a natty one and just quit. Gladiator also.
Lucas rolled a 1.
And then
That
Bale-
can't be a roll. That looks like some weird ass thing he did.
Jesus, my internet is dog shit today. Does that count? Because that says a C20.
No, you can go ahead and roll with the Avery bot or whatever.
11.
Better than a 1.
You got a warhorse, right? You didn't want a pony. You wanted a warhorse, right?
I think I didn't say anything. I think I got whatever they got me.
Okay.
I'm a pretty slender elf.
Pretty standard horse, but it does break free of your grasp, and it runs. It flees. It moves a full, its full distance. About what's it, 50 feet? Yeah. So it's moves about 50 feet behind the party, and your guys' horses, seeing Logus's break. Now everyone's tries to break. So everybody go ahead and give me kind of like we'll say strength check to try to kind of keep your horses in check. Renwick, you're excluded from this as your horse kind of still under your control for the most part.
Crushed it.
If it's possible, I want to tell the party, guys, I think it's best we let them run to safety on their own. And I'll tell the horses and John Bon Pony before he runs off. Go ahead and get to safety, and we'll find you after this is done. And I'll make sure I got their hooves and shit, and so I can track them when we're done.
Locris got an 18 either way.
I mean, we could tie him up to the wagon so we don't have to track the horses down later.
I don't think it's up to us at this point. They smell death. They sense danger. Every instinct in their body is telling them to run away from this area, which is not a good thing. And I think it's best that we don't tie them up and leave them so vulnerable when they can possibly, at the very least, live. Maybe we don't find them, but they deserve to have a chance to survive.
Well, can you at least tell Pony Danza that I love him and that I hope he comes back to me? And he'll dismount and stroke Pony Danza's face.
So I imagine Logos, you just see him neighing at the fucking horse. Sound like Yoda. Anyways, so I translate that to Pony Danza. He says he loves you, that he hopes that you come back to him and that he's letting you go so that you may live.
He kind of, as soon as you let the horse go, he flees. He goes to catch up with the other horse who has broken away. And, Locris, you are strong enough to keep your horse in check if you want to keep him nearby. You definitely stop him from running off.
And Glader would have just like pointed his horse in the direction of the two others that ran off and just smacked it on the haunches and just.
Oh yeah, if you allow it to leave, it will leave. They are actively trying to flee.
And then he would have like just readied, got his shield off his back and his Kopesh out of the sheath and just readied himself, kind of looking around.
While all this is happening and the horses are running off, can I jump on one of those rocks you were talking about?
Yeah, there's a few of them nearby, near the road. You could definitely step off the side of the road and kind of jump on a rock to get a better view of the area.
Something tells me that maybe we shouldn't be on the ground right now. Whatever it is coming from underneath the ground. Having a rock between us might serve us, at the very least, a buffer between us and whatever's under the ground.
Also, before anything happens, Glader is going to grasp his amulet of horror on his chest and his Kopesh. I mean, it's already gold, but it glows like this a brilliant golden light, like sparkling and crackling with energy. And I'm going to cast use my channel divinity and cast sacred weapon on my Kopesh. Lasts for 1 minute. So hopefully something happens within the next minute.
Okay, yeah, you're
Well,
kind
Chris
of
will.
casting some pre battle spells. What are you up to, Locris? You still have the reins of your horse, by the way.
Chris is going to look at Logus and say, "If anything happens to my horse, you owe me 36 gold." And let go, call forth his packed weapon, and cast Armor of Agathis on himself, and then climb up on a rock.
But Logan's gonna be like, what? I mean, you can hold on to your horse. I'm just saying that I'm gonna let mine go, but you can be responsible for your own horse if you want.
Oh no, too late.
Okay, yeah. So Logus and Locris have found positions up on nearby rocks. Anybody else doing anything in particular at the moment?
Yeah, Renwick pops the cork off a bottle of poison that he picked off of the other rogues and flashes it on a couple of bolts for his hand crossbow, and then calls over to Locris and he's like, we're gonna have to fight this thing. Fire an arrow and provoke it. We better get this on, like get on with this.
Hey, Sean, as a ranger, being out in the travels, would I have any idea what this is?
Go ahead and give me, we'll just say, a general intelligence check.
Or maybe Gladier, if you want to take it, since this is your home area, would make more sense. You might know what this is, seeing as you're from here.
I mean, if up to DM discretion, but I'll take it if like we both want to investigate or like kind of.
Yeah, you guys can. So you can make a raw intelligence check from where you guys are at, or you can venture to where you saw the ground ripple and make an investigation check. Your call.
Input.
I think I'm just gonna make the intelligence check because last thing I want to do is get gobbled up.
Intelligence. Oh, that's a +0. So that's an 11 for Glader.
I rolled a 12.
I ain't too smart.
You get Logus. Like from Nightwood. Your neck of the woods, your home region. There's a multitude of swift moving underground critters. It could be like a dire mole, or maybe it's a burrowing creature. It could be like a giant rabbit or something. You're not sure, but you think it could be some kind of subterranean creature. Gladier, you're unsure as to you've never really encountered a massive subterranean creature. I mean, there's tales of different types of creatures of all different kinds hailing from these mountains, and you're at a loss to try to pinpoint what you think it might be.
So what's the plan, boys? I think whatever it is, we got to keep it away from the horses, and the horses ran in the opposite direction. So we either got to keep it in front of us and fight it, or just kind of corral it away from the horses.
Might sound a little selfish, but maybe the most agile of us should run up towards that point and jump on a rock and see if they can spring the trap. 'Cause I don't know if that thing's going to come out here or if it's waiting for something to come to it.
Well, I could try something. Sean, would you allow me to attach some of the deer meat to an arrow and try to shoot it into that ripple, seeing if the smell of the meat or the thud would trigger it?
Certainly, yeah. Go. You can attach some of the meat to an arrow. The ripple doesn't like stay continuously moving. It's like a ripple of some movement and then it stopped. So you've seen two spots kind of near the party where you guys have identified the land ripple that you could potentially shoot an arrow to with some meat upon it.
What's its distance from the party again? Those two ripples that we identified.
The first one was about 100 feet or so. After you threw the stone, it was similar ripple, about 100 feet or so, but the ripple looked as if it was traveling in the direction of the party.
Gotcha.
So, do we get the sense there's two of them, or is it just one thing moving around?
You're not sure.
Well, I guess I'll shoot it in the place that we last saw it.
All right, go ahead and just give me like an attack roll.
And before we actually engage this, Blade would like to give inspiration to Locus.
Okay, yeah, for sure. What is that? Are you at a D6, a D8?
D6.
I'm probably going to use it right now
Okay,
since
great.
I rolled a 13.
Go ahead and tell me. Yeah, go ahead and use it.
16 total.
So you strap a good piece of venison to this arrow and you launch it in the direction of where you saw the land ripple, and your arrow strikes the ground. You can see the venison stuck to it, and the arrow is just kind of sticking out of the ground. Shaft and all. And after a moment or two, nothing happens. You guys just kind of gaze outward, and not a whole lot of movement in any direction. And quickly, as it did before, you notice a fast-moving ripple, kind of just in the area of the arrow, but it doesn't seem it like travels underneath it almost, and it definitely dislodges the arrow from being stuck in the stone, stuck in the ground, like straight up shaft. But it is now just kind of on its side, laying out. Interested enough to check it out, but not enough to, I guess, unsubmerge itself, I guess.
Oh, boys, I think it wants fresh meat, if you know what I mean. So we're just gonna have to move forward on this thing. Best I could say is we could try to keep ourselves off the ground and maybe try to stealth up there, get a jump on it.
My only fear about this is we could, one, potentially multiple of us, depending on how big this thing in, could be swallowed if it comes up from underneath us and tries to, get us from that way. That could put us in a real bad situation real fast. I think we have to find a way to make him come out, or we're gonna get ourselves in a bad situation real fast.
Well, I mean, if hitting it with an arrow filled with meat is not going to bring it out of the ground, I think the only thing that's going to do it is us being right up next to it. Unfortunately, I mean, we can keep to the rocks as best as we can, but we have to get past this thing. And I mean, can I do like a survival check or something to see if we could just scale the mountain to get up around it?
Sure. Go ahead and give me a survival check.
I mean, we
And
could potentially try to hurt it. Nobody has anything that could maybe do some blast damage or something of that sort that could. I mean, it seems to be right underneath the surface. If it came up to inspect, it's right there. If there's someone who could be hurt it, we could see it come out.
I don't have anything that does that really. Just bolt staggers and a rapier. So
So
I'm
do
just
we see where
not
it's
seeing a good way to
shaking?
get this to come out of the ground.
Do we see where the ground is shaking still, or is it kind of dead?
Go ahead and give me the whole party really can. Go ahead and everybody give me another set of perception checks.
Natural 20 for a 21.
I might have to switch to a dice of Rise being a cunt right now with these bad rolls.
Dirty 20.
5 for Blade.
8 for Renwick.
So, Locris and Gladier, you guys kind of noticed this and pointed out to the party. Out kind of where the arrow landed, you saw a ripple. But as you guys' horses fled, they went back the direction you guys came. So they just kind of went down the path. And you notice a ripple in the road, and it is approximately almost dead on the money, halfway between you guys and your horses. And as you kind of adjust your vision, you see and feel that it is, once again, you catch like a quick glimpse of it off in the direction that Logist had fired the arrow. So it seems that either it is circling the party or there are multiple entities, one on either side of the party.
I'll cast Eldritch Blast at that spot.
And Glader is going to start stomping his feet like as hard as he can. Full 250 pounds of weight just stomping on the ground.
Okay, Locris, you
Renwick's gonna
fire
climb onto a
off.
boulder while this is happening.
Okay, Renwick, you scramble to safety nearby.
The
Locris,
horse-
go ahead and give me an attack roll on the rippling rock.
Uh, 24.
You send a shot towards the rock, and the ripple, and it looks like it collides, and it seems to stop it in its tracks, but only briefly. And as Gladier starts heavily stomping his feet, the spot that you strike with your Eldritch Blast freezes for a moment, shifts directions, and plummets straight towards Gladier with some blinding speed. I'm going to need everybody to roll initiative.
God damn. 17 for a 25. Fucking
19
Logus with a
for
28.
20.
Glad we're up on the rocks.
Well, that really doesn't help us because we're gonna go first and they're not out yet.
Yeah, but you've got a longbow.
8 for Blade.
Logus, did you get a 28 for initiative? That's awesome. What the fuck?
Yeah, or 19 plus 9.
Okay, so I got, and then Locris, you're 19.
Correct it to 18.
Oh, 18, okay. Gladier, what'd you get?
14.
And then, what did you say, Blade?
For me,
8?
unfortunately.
Okay. Alright, let me make a little note here. Okay, so, Gladier. It's about to be Gladier's no good, rotten, bad day again.
Save the horses.
Yeah, at least you saved the horses this time. The important part, you know, they'll be able to resurrect your body when they get back to town because they saved the horses. No, as you are rushed by this giant piece of ground, just breaking ground in front of you, a boulette bursts forth from the ground at a astounding speed, and it leaps high into the air and crashes into the same place as you are, Gladier. So I'm going to need you to give me a strength or dexterity saving throw to not be knocked prone as this bullet crashes into you in full force and screeching, and it erupts from the ground like some sort of land shark. And you are looking at quite the armored and terrifying beast as it mauls, just straight mauls over Gladier as it arrives.
Sorry, I was on mute. 13 strength. Not too good.
No. So, Gladier, you are the force of this bullet bursting forth from the ground and crashing into you knocks you prone, first of all. And you're going to take a bit of damage as its deadly leap, it crashes into you.
What?
Gladier, you take 29 damage from a single blow as both a bludgeoning and slashing, as this gnarling like land shark comes biting and tearing and chomping at you. It's currently sharing the same space as you, which knocks you prone. And I'm going to send a pic of the battle map, but I think this is where we're going to have to call our session for the night, fellas.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
That thing is just gonna eat Gladier in 2 bites.
I told you this. We could have sacrificed the horses and ran off.
You said you wanted to save the horses.
I said nothing. I said we let them go, give them a chance to survive. It was the God's will if they were to be eaten. Who are we to mess with God's will?
I should have sent one to pull out the bastard, and then we might not. Glader wouldn't be so hurt already.
29 points of damage on the opening
Okay,
round.
so yeah. 29 points of damage to Gladier. He is prone and has this thing towering over him. everybody but Blade and Gladier are on rocks. So Renrick's on a rock, Locust is on a rock, fuck, Locris is on a rock. Gladier is in the middle of the road, and Blade also, didn't move off the road, but he's, I don't know, 10, 15 feet behind Gladier. So somewhat safe as far as you could tell, but this will be where we'll have to pick up next session. See if I can't kill me a Gladier.
Again.
If Gladier dies, we could just abandon this whole rebellion and do something else.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Jesus Christ.
I tried to tell you, man. I was trying to think of a way to get this thing to pop out because I had a feeling it was going to be gnarly. You just have to go stomping.
There was no way to get that thing out. I mean, we shot fucking meat arrows at it. It was waiting for us to get close. I don't really think there was a way to get that thing to come out on its own, and it still would have came out from the ground and pounced one way or another.
Short of letting it eat all of our horses, I don't think it was coming out. Or short of eating all of our horses or attacking us as we tried to walk across the ground. It probably has some sort of tremor sense. So, I mean, either way, we're probably getting attacked. Unless we all rolled great on stealth, which I disadvantage on stealth because heavy armor.
Oh,
if it has
your
tremor
whole lot
sense,
would have had
it don't give a
disadvantage on
fuck.
stealth if you were trying to get 5 ponies across as well or something.
Oh man. Well, hopefully it didn't roll high in initiative so I can heal myself before it attacks again next game.
I could probably flick a berry into your mouth since I'd more than likely go first.
Right, I think your party learned from the first battle encounter or two that when the tank goes down, they're fucking next. So you don't let the tank go down.
And that's why I bought a healing potion at the Greenthorn. Like, let me stock back up on those.
Would it be possible to just flick 10 berries into his mouth from up on the rock while he's prone?
While he's, I mean, you might be able to pull something off, but I don't know. You might have to help him chew and swallow here shortly. It might not be a from a distance thing.
Renwick just shoots one of the poison bolts into Gladier and puts him out of his misery.
So long, friend.
We'll use him as bait, boys. Run up the mountain.
You also rolled, what did you roll? So 66. Oh, you didn't even roll that great.
Yeah, that thing just does a massive amount of damage with the +8 on top of it.
To be fair, it was half damage if you didn't suck at that dex or strength save. So
yeah, of course, my highest stat I rolled shit for.
It's totally possible at your guys' level I could have one-hitted you with this guy, or with that particular leaping crush attack. His bite is no joke either, so next week should be quite a fun battle scene, at the very least. I thought I had everything set up for you guys to go toe-to-toe with that squadron of silver soldiers. I didn't think you guys were going to weasel your way out of that. You guys pulled it off.
I really didn't either. I took a big gamble with the whole, like, we were having a drink with Mirnareth in the tavern, because technically we did, just not in the way that I necessarily presented it. I was very surprised that worked.
I was going to have them just fucking bust your guys' balls and start going to town, but the deception check perception check I did on Gladier as I kind of walked by was a fucking natty 1. So it really didn't matter how bad, good or bad Locris's makeup job was. It passed.
I was literally about to cast Fog Cloud so we can
just dip out.
Not necessarily like either dip out or we can pop them off while they're discombobulated, make the fight easier. Because by the time that fog clears, we can take out a good maybe 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, that would have been more than 2 to 1. So that would have been rough. But also now we're facing this fucking thing, which did 29 points of damage.
We also, like, if we kill an entire squadron and they know we just left going down that road, we would have set a lot of shit off. So it's good that we managed to pass by because now we're a lot less suspicious.
Leaving a body of soldiers on the path would have been a bad thing for all of us.
Yeah. Now you'll just leave one golden dragonborn body in the path.
Yes, I hope you're coming up with your backup character, because if he goes before you and you're prone, that's an auto crit. And that bite is no joke, like he said. So
Yeah,
It's not an auto
Yeah,
crit
I
at
could
all.
potentially one hit you with every attack from this character. Like his only attack is 4d12, and it gets modifiers. So I could potentially one hit any one of you with this monster.
So, 1, he's definitely gunning for the TPK. 2, I think we do actually have to sacrifice Gladier to survive this. And 3, at least we won't leave the evidence behind because the boulette will just swallow your body.
sure, get up the backup character, Bladier, your twin brother that was living in Gathmora.
Well, I mean, you guys, at least the horses are safe. John Bon Giorno, or whatever your horse's name is, he'll live to tell the tale.
John Bon Pony and Pony Danza.
Oh, how could I forget Pony Danza? Of course, yeah. Pony Danza will tell the tragic tale of his former owner back in Greenthorn.
Can you imagine being like that random ranger that just one day decides, you know what, I'm going to talk to this pony, and it's Pony Danza, and he's like, what's your story, man? And he was like, dude.
Right?
I've seen some shit.
You go to talk to this donkey, and he like straight up lights a cigarette. Come here, bro. I've seen some shit, you know?
You know what? If Renwick dies in this combat, I will build my character around somebody who has speak with animals and met Pony Danza and then goes to the trail to like track down this beast.
Pony Danza's your spirit animal or some shit. It's like a
I'll be
cigarette
like
smoking
a
fucking
totem
traumatized
barbarian.
horse.
I'll be what is it, like the animal totem barbarians that pick a specific animal?
Yes, Path of the Totem.
Oh god, I would be like my totem animal would be a pony.
I'm just gonna come back as Pony Danza.
I'm just gonna throw
Oh my
this
God, I
arc
could
I'm working on in the
I-
garbage, and we're gonna start with some Pony Danza Chronicles. What do you guys say?
You know what? I have something. I think I have the be all end all backup character. Sean, I will make you hate life because if you kill Renwick in this combat, I swear to God, I'm building a centaur, and his backstory is that Pony Danza eventually met a nice, wonderful woman. Or sorry, in his previous life, met
In Tijuana? What the fuck? Where's this going, bro?
and created a centaur.
We're including bestiality.
Yep,
Yeah.
and I'll be Pony Danza Jr. if you kill Renwick. I swear to God, man.
Fucking.
I don't know if this is like incentive or disincentive. Like I'm kind of torn here.
I mean, if you want to work through the mechanics of having a centaur in the party.
Centaur Ranger would be dope, and it would allow you to speak to animals.
Yeah, it would be pretty sick.
I'll just make sure there's like fucking stairs everywhere, so it's like difficult terrain for you constantly or something.
Would be pretty fantastic to watch me just trip upstairs constantly.
Or those the things they have at ranches to like stop the cows from walking out of the gate, where it's just like the metal grating.
Yeah, the
where-
cattle guards everywhere. Just
Yeah.
you're in a field full of cattle guards. Your friends are enjoying themselves, and you're stuck.
You're afraid of fences that are not electric, but you think they're electric.
Oh god. All right. Well, that was a good session, guys. I'm probably gonna head.
Thanks, guys. Once
Yeah.
again, I'll keep in touch on the channels and whatnot, and I will hear from you guys next week. Are we changing the game time next week due to the holidays? What's the plan with everybody?
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. Is anybody traveling? We're undecided yet, but if we do go up for Thanksgiving, we'll probably be driving Wednesday night after work, I would guess.
Well,
So
I know
To
Locris
pick
has to
up
pick up his
my mom from the airport, so
Yeah.
I'd be driving at 9:45 Central Time.
yeah, we can try to reschedule. I can't do Tuesdays, but I could do Monday
Monday?
or
I think
We can try
Monday
to say
might be
Monday,
like the day.
or
Friday.
if we have to, like it's a holiday weekend. Like even the biggest podcasts take holidays off for the week. So I mean, we can always do that if we have to. I don't want to. We can do Monday or Friday. I'm down for it, but if we can't swing
yeah,
it, we can swing it.
I think I could probably make Monday work. And if we don't drive, actually, I might be able to make Friday work too, but preferably Monday, just so we can like squeeze a session in before the holiday. Because I feel like holidays always end up more intense than we expect them to be.
I would prefer Monday as well. If we could do
I
it.
think Monday. Yeah. I would prefer Monday too. My old lady's got a lot of family coming to town, and she's also she's getting a tattoo business off the ground, and so I'm pretty booked throughout most of the week. But I could do Monday or Friday. Either way, I would prefer Monday as well. So if we could,
Sounds
I'll
like
shoot for
Monday's
Monday.
good to
It'll
go then.
work out, I guess.
Sweet, yeah, we can aim for Monday.
And plus, we all need to go one day when we meet up. Have your wife do D&D inspired tattoos on all of us.
Yes.
Oh, I'd be down.
Don't threaten her with a good time. She sure likes to stab me a whole hell of a lot. I don't know.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah, for her, the screams of pain. Yeah, guys, for sure. Just keep in touch, and I'll get a hold of you guys. And once again, great session. I appreciate kicking it with you guys, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take her easy,
Hell
everybody.
yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see ya.
Good.
Have a good night, guys.
See ya.